there we go then. You can go right ahead and sing your sad song.
Welcome to the Poor Rikes, the Poor Rikes. We're poor, da 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 da. Poor.
Purple.
I like your sad death metal.
I mean, yeah, I don't feel it either, you know. So we're starting a recording today. This might not actually be uploaded, just so you know. We recorded 2 episodes yesterday, and they were each. Well, no, I think one of them was like an hour 40 minutes, and then the next one was 2.5 hours, 2 hours 40
That's a
minutes. It was
lot.
insane. But that one is my favorite since our fourth episode, the foster care one,
Yeah, I still think
and
the
that's
foster one is better.
that's gonna be like episode 8, I think, which is insane. Um, so we're my thing today for this recording again might not be uploaded. Especially after yesterday, after our nearly 3 hour
Yeah.
session of just hanging out and chatting. I remember even after we finished, I still wanted to keep chatting, but it was so much,
Yeah.
like even I was tired after that.
Yeah. Well, you did do an hour podcast of your gaming podcast after
That's a
too.
bit easier and different to do. But we were both I think we were both tired even after our first recording. The
Yeah.
mostly fun one that turned into not so fun at the end, like more a little more serious towards the end or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to chat more with my sister after that, but we were both tired and didn't want to record more or anything. So right now, currently, what we're recording is literally just going to be a chat, random, just chill and hang out. So there might not be anything going on here. But one thing I thought was funny because we did a joke. One of our previous episodes, we did a joke sponsorship bit.
We did?
Naturally, yeah, it wasn't planned or anything. We just were talking about I forget. I said something, and then you said, "Oh, we're sponsored by," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I have some beer and we got Skittles," and you were like, "I've got some tap water," and
Well, I
you're
have tap water again. I'm
yeah,
nothing if not
and
consistent.
you were like, "Sponsored by tap water," which I thought was super funny. So it was a joke thing. It wasn't anything we tried to do or anything. It just happened while we were talking. So, and I was talking when we were first coming to my room. I grabbed some white cheddar Cheetos puffs.
Yeah, I hope you're not going to be eating those during the
I
podcast.
was planning to, but I'm not going to because, crunch, crunch, crunch and stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to. I am still a little bit hungry. We just got done also eating a burger and fries and stuff that my sister got for us.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I was That's exactly my point. That's exactly how we ended up on our previous fake sponsorship episode. Um, but I noticed now the reason I it was just something I noticed and I wanted to mention it because we were walking into my room before we sat down and started recording this. And I was like, and I was saying, I noticed. And then I was like, oh, wait, I'll just mention that on the episode so we have something to start with, whatever.
You noticed what?
But I noticed. So previously, when you first got these Cheeto Puffs or whatever to try, the white cheddar puffs,
Uh-huh.
you got 2 bags. And I'm
I
assuming
did.
you got one for each of us.
Yeah.
And I remember telling her, I was like, dude, I love these. They're so good. And then this time, she only got 1 bag.
I thought I got two.
No, you got 1 bag this time. I thought you did that. I thought you did it because you didn't really like them as much as I did.
No, I did. I thought I got two of each. Like I got two of these and then two of the
They might have been
sour
out
cream and
then.
cheddar. I want to check my receipt because
You should.
I'm pretty sure I ordered
Because if you
two.
ordered 2, we only got 1.
Well,
Yeah.
that's some bullshit right there.
What is Simply? It's is that the store? Because it says pure deliciousness Simply Cheetos Puffs
I think it
white
means
cheddar.
it's baked instead of fried.
Simply. I thought it was weird because I was like, that's not the brand because the brand is Cheetos. Anyways, now normally I don't like puffy Cheetos.
You mentioned that.
Yeah. Like the regular Cheeto because I like crunchy. I love crunchy Cheetos, especially the jalapeno cheddar Cheetos. Um, but so we literally just tried the white cheddar for the first time, what, like a few days ago?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Was that the first time you ever saw them or something?
I think so. I was just scrolling through the chip section to see what was on sale, and they were on sale 2 for $6, so I got two. The other ones were 2
That's
for
not
$6.
too bad, especially because these are big bags. These aren't those tiny little bags, you know. Like these are like those party size bags. It's still got the half air shit, you know, but it's still bigger than those tiny little. No, that's the white cheddar is so good. So yeah, like the regular. I'm not a big fan of the puffy Cheetos normally, but the white cheddar are just so damn good, man. Oh my gosh. Now, what's funny about well, it's a tiny bit funny to me. I'm actually somebody tiny me either.
Why do they keep spelling my name wrong?
That's not you. This
Oh.
isn't my channel. That's actually I was talking about Krystal. There's this lady. Her name's Krystal Ball, which is kind of funny. It's got to be a fake name, right? You know. She's like one of the, I guess, anchors or whatever. She's on The Hill. There's a show or YouTube channel called The Hill, or I don't know if it's an actual news channel, but it's basically a political news channel on YouTube called The Hill. And Krystal Ball is one of the, you know, popular ones on it. I was telling you about this before. I don't know if you remember, but it was probably a couple weeks ago or so. I was telling you how there were these people that would talk about the news, and they would be sipping tea with big giant smiles on their faces, talking about how all the whole world's fucking in horrible horror and nightmares and shit and whatever, and they're just with smiles on their faces while they talk about it, and that's why I was like, dude, I can't stand these fucking bastards. And you know what's funny is I wrote a comment something like that. It was either Facebook or Twitter, I don't remember, but I said something similar because I haven't said that just once. I said it a couple times. Mostly because it was just a different topic, and I was like, you know, I can't stand these people. They just sit there and literally will talk about how the world is in pain and dying, literally, like, you know, real news. Nightmarish real news, and they're just smiling while sipping cups of tea, and all in super fancy suits and shit, you know, they're looking all fancy and rich like they're 1%ers and shit, talking and just smiling about the destruction of the planet while they talk about it. And I'm just like, so I said, oh, I think I was responding to Shoe on Head, a tweet by Shoe on Head, who had shared, because she was on their show.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, because she did that. I don't remember if you saw it, but she did a video where she went to the Capitol on the 6th. She was there before that happened.
Yeah.
And so because of her set there, her whole video, she interviewed people, all that. They actually had her on the Hill and interviewed her about that. And it literally was better to watch Shoe on Head's video than it was to watch that. And that interview was so useless and pointless. It was nonsense. It literally was like a cred thing, you know, like a popularity, look, well, I'm here on this show kind of a thing or what. And I don't think that was Shoe on Head. It was just that specific interview offered nothing.
Doesn't sound like the Hill offers much of anything anyways.
Well, specifically, I mean, they, you know, what's interesting about it is because, I mean, I haven't watched enough. Like, every time I tried, I would watch their stuff, especially when I first heard of them. When I first heard about The Hill, I checked out, probably a few of their videos. But that's how I noticed it immediately. I noticed it the first time I watched their shit was them smiling and fucking sipping tea, looking all dressed all fancy and rich and, you know, cozy. And
is it satire?
No, I don't think so. I could hope so. I don't think so, though. No, I don't think so. I don't believe it is. But I really think it's just rich people talking about like reality while not ever having a clue what it's actually like to live that way and stuff. Like, it's just a weird thing because the biggest trip to me of it is, you know, they speak for leftists sometimes, right? Like, they have a socialistic kind of discussions and whatever, right? But it's just disgusting. It reminds, there's this other woman, and her name's Marianne Williamson. And I remember I came across her just through all the stuff, because she also, you know, whenever anybody agrees with you on a certain topic, they get shared, even if they're not even on your team. Like, Republicans will sometimes say the same thing a leftist would. Really depends. I mean, so, you know, and that's how you come across these people. That Marianne Williamson, to me, I think I might have told you this before. I can't remember, but
we were talking about her yesterday.
Was it yesterday? To me, it was because I had seen people say this before, and especially in 2020. But I never knew what it meant. And people would say, "Oh, they speak from both sides of the mouth."
Yeah.
And I literally looked it up. I remember looking it up a few months ago, and I was like, "What the freaking hell does that even mean? Like, isn't it normal? Like, your mouth as a whole just speaks like how you know what?
Nobody speaks out of one side
Like,
of their
right?
mouth.
Like, don't you use your entire mouth to speak?" That was so weird to me.
I guess we only speak from the front of our mouth, not the back of our mouth.
So I looked it up. And it's basically once, you're saying both sides and agreeing with both sides or whatever. Just to
Just
simply
having
put
no
it.
fucking spine, basically.
Yeah, it's just saying two different arguments that oppose each other and agreeing with both sides. Like, basically. I don't remember the actual definition, but that's basically what it is. And it took me a long time because she did say a lot of nice stuff. I recently posted. I have to post on Facebook now because but because there's a page I follow and they share a lot of the. It's funny to me because there's a page I've been following for a while, and they started sharing all the stuff I had been watching on Twitter for the past over a year, and I started seeing them share the same stuff I was looking at and all that stuff because it's stuff that you can understand and whatever, right? It's just. But they shared one of her tweets, and I responded. I was like, yeah, because I remember when I first saw her messages on Twitter. This was one of the things I learned early on. Oh my gosh, in 2020, I'm talking to you about that, and I didn't mean to get into political stuff. It's just an interesting thing. Whatever. It was so hard to get into because it's just so many lies and bullshit. But so she would say good things, right? Like something a leftist would say, for example, say all these things, but she would also say stuff for Republicans. Like, and I get that. It's not like everything Republicans say are horrible or anything,
Yeah.
But the one thing I will never forget is she was one of many so-called leftists that insisted on voting for Biden. That was unacceptable to me.
I mean, I voted for Biden.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, you haven't been doing what I've been doing, though.
Just needed anybody but Trump in there. That's all.
Yeah, and that's exactly the problem.
Agree to disagree.
Nah, you can do that all you want. anyways. I can't. I had a point. It was just funny to me because, like, it took me a while. I mean, I'm talking months. It took me a while, and finally one day I was like, I literally tweeted at her, and I said, you have taught me what it means speaking from both sides of the mouth.
Ow. What'd she say?
I can't remember.
Did she respond?
No, oh no. Of course she wouldn't. No. And that wasn't even, I didn't even, I actually just tweeted that at her. I didn't even respond to a tweet she put out. I just told her. I was just sick and tired of seeing her shit, man. I just was like, dude, enough's enough, man. Like, pick a fucking side, asshole. Like, geez, man, it's just ridiculous. Anyways, so no, it's kind of funny. So the page that had shared her tweet, I can't remember. I mean, like, well, here, let me see if I can see it real quick. I'm kind of curious because again, my response to that specific post was sometimes she says nice things, but she speaks from both sides of the mouth, basically. So I'm kind of curious what she said. This was because it was somebody that shared her tweet or whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not important or anything, but I'm just curious as an example of what specifically she said. Here we go. She said, "I spent some time among the very, very poor, and I've spent some time among the very, very rich. The gap that exists there should not exist. Some have so much money they honestly don't know what to do with, and others have so little money they honestly don't know what to do."
Yeah.
Which is 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not something I would disagree with or be mad at her about or anything. I've just all the things I've seen this lady say, I'm just like, I'm done with you. I'm just so done with you. But that specific message isn't something I would argue with. What's funny to me about that message, though, is that's literally nothing new. It's only the worst it's ever been, but it's... Oh man, that's funny. Did I tell you? I think I told you yesterday was the stocks thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you about that?
Yep.
Okay. It was I can't even remember what the hell how exactly it was. I just remember I updated you because we briefly spoke about the stock stuff. And I was even telling you how I invested a little bit, a few
Mm-hmm.
bucks here and there, and it was instantly noticeable, and I knew it too because I had seen it. I'd seen the way people talk about stocks. I had read articles, um, and well, for example, whenever anybody said to invest in something, the amount of money they would say to invest to me would be like, who the fuck has that kind of money to invest? Anyways, yeah, I wasn't planning to get on. It just happened. I forget the reason I was on this channel. There was something in here. I can't remember what, and it was kind of a part of why I wanted to chat with you. It wasn't like super important. Um, it kind of triggered me, and it's kind of funny because I use the word triggered. For me, I believe triggered is usually means that makes you angry or whatever. Right?
So triggered is it's a PTSD term. It basically means like if you have PTSD, there are certain things that kind of set off that kind of panic or terror.
Well, I think there's a slang to it though. It's not usually used that. It's usually
I
just
mean,
I'm pissing
so
you off. I trolled you hard. Ha 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 ha. Kind of shit.
so
Whatever.
okay, so trigger kind of got taken over by people who are making fun of the word trigger. So it gets used sincerely and also sarcastically. But trigger just basically means that there was something that that kind of just kind of set off explosions in your brain, basically.
I forget. I think it was around this, but something hit me where like, oh, it wasn't even the specific topic. I was browsing through this channel. This is a leftist channel I joined on Discord a while back. Um, and I remember I was browsing through it, and we talked about this yesterday. I think it was like I used to be more active mentally, politically because of Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I was like, well, I kind of I'm sort of a tiny bit glad I have a break from it, but at the same time, I don't like it because I want to be aware,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was looking at this, and then I kind of was like, it just made me want to talk about it again, which is super weird. And the reason I wanted to mention it because I thought it was the dumb, weird, funny thing about it is nothing's changed is my view on politics. Like I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate talking about it. It's all a bunch of disgusting mess and it's never been cool or fun. But now I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Nah.
So what are we looking at?
Nothing.
You.
No, that was all. That's what I'm saying. Like there wasn't. It just made me think of that. What I literally just said.
Oh.
As it just made me like it just. I hate that I'm so like politically activated or whatever when I don't want to be.
I mean, you're also actively looking at a lefty political channel.
No, well, they're not it's not an active chat. It's not like it's a very slow chat. Like, I mean, it seems like most Discords are, it's so funny to me now that you mention, because, like, I noticed lately, people will talk about different Discord channels and be like, oh, channel's dead. And, I'm in a lot of channels, and they're almost all dead.
Mm.
It's so funny. I don't know if it's pandemic related or what.
Now I would imagine more people would be online.
I know. But it's like it's weird. It's
I bet
really
the
weird.
Dance Mom channel is really active.
The what?
Dance Moms?
The fuck is Dance Mom?
It's a reality show.
Anyway, Dance Moms. Oh my gosh. Well, you seem to be in a pretty terrible mood today.
Yeah.
What hit you?
I don't know.
It just kind of happened.
I just usually just try to avoid conversation when I feel like this because I don't want to be like this. So
I know, and I didn't. You know what's funny is I could tell, which is why I kind of just started going off. But and we both had this thing. We both were like, I just want to hang out and chat, but I don't know what to chat about.
maybe we should just try it without recording ourselves.
No, I mean, I'm already considering we're not even recording this. Like, I don't care. It's the same to me. That's what's funny. That's another difference between me and you. Is for some reason, whatever it's easy for me to consider that, like, this whole time we haven't actually been recording any of that.
Oh, we haven't?
No, we have.
Oh.
But it's easy for me to think we haven't. I've been catching up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 again.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to talk about that.
Oh, your butthole. Oh,
I just don't like that show. It's so, like, soap opera and stupid.
Says the girl that watches reality shows.
Yeah. I expected better, I think. You know, like, if I'm in the mood for a soap opera, great. But I was in the mood for, like, a good, like, show, and it's just, like, another fucking soap opera. It just irritated me.
Man, I wish... I saw this yesterday. I can't remember if it was an email or not. OnlyFans selling sexy. It's like a documentary on Hulu.
Good lord, that was fast. Isn't OnlyFans, like, really new?
I don't think so. I think it's just recently popular. I think it's been around a long time, but it's only now it's like a normal thing.
Why don't we listen to that song?
Sure, that sounds good. I actually saved it. I forgot about that. I saved it under podcast content. We have 2 things saved.
What's the other thing?
I don't remember. I'm kind of curious. Let me see. I don't remember saving another one. I think it was probably something I wanted to ask you about. Here, let's check this out. This is a tweet. It says, this is a video clip, right? It says, on the floor, this is from February 4th, so it's a little while back. But now I remember because it's supposed to be transphobic. Okay. I remember this.
You want to talk about trans stuff again?
No, I do not. But this was funny. Not, and especially since I guess since we have, I mean, I would rather go in it, but this was what I thought was interesting. All right, so this is the tweet, this is the message, and it's in reference to a video clip that we will also play and listen to. So the message says, on the floor of the House of Representatives, Marjorie Taylor Green complains that it's unfair and cancel culture that other people can retweet porn, but she can't be transphobic.
What?
That is not. But okay, all right, never mind. Let me play the clip.
So first of all, you can't tweet porn, can you?
Oh yeah. Oh, porn's all over Twitter.
Oh.
It's interesting, yeah, because there are actually rules against it.
Yeah, right.
There are actual accounts that post porn all the time.
Gross.
There's regular porn. There's art porn. You know,
art porn.
Like nudity and whatever, right?
That's right. Show me that paintbrush.
Spread
it in that water.
Brushes. Black app, anyways. So no, what I thought was interesting, because this made me mad when I saw the message. Like, I saw this message and I was like, damn, dude, that's messed up. And I've heard nothing but bad things about this lady. This lady is actually, this is the one I think we just talked about her. Yesterday.
Oh, that's who I thought you were talking about earlier.
This is who I was telling you.
Everybody hates her.
Everybody hates her. Which as far for the generally speaking, and as far as everything I've seen, yeah, she does seem very horrible. She was also the one who I was talking about, the Capitol attack that she spoke of in a video a year before it happened, and she's like, it's a public place, go there and let them know how you feel, kind of a thing. So let me play this clip, and we'll be muted during this clip, all right?
Okay.
Cancel culture is a real thing. It is very real. And when big tech companies like Twitter, you can scroll through and see where someone may have retweeted porn, this is a problem. this is a terrible, terrible thing. But yet, when I say that I absolutely believe with all my heart that God's creation is He created them male and female, and that should not be denied, when I am censored for saying those type of things, that is wrong. Cancel culture is a...
Okay, so
Well, you know, the first thing that strikes me is I just don't like how much she repeats herself.
does she repeat? I don't even know.
The clip played over.
Oh, I always thought that was weird about Twitter, how it auto replays the
I
video.
hate that. Like, it's the thing with TikTok. I want to figure out how to, like, just not make it automatically play again.
It's weird that it's default replay.
So, first of all, there are rules against porn on Twitter. So, it's not okay that people post it. If it gets caught, then they take it down, right?
I don't know.
So the point is, like, her premise is just wrong already.
The premise is it's a bad argument, but
it's kind of like, well, other people murder people,
no,
but I'm not allowed to.
No, I know.
Rob banks.
No, here's what got me on this specific clip is while the argument is stupid and it's just whatever, it's just a bad debate or whatever it is. I don't know a single thing said in that that's actually transphobic.
Oh, well, it's kind of like a racist dog whistle where, like, you know, when you see it, like, all lives matter or whatever, like we were talking about yesterday. So when somebody says, I believe that God created blah blah, basically it just means what it translates to is fuck trans people.
See, that's what's messed up. Okay, man, God, I hate this shit so much. And we just talked about this yesterday too, because this is what pisses me off. Because if I were to say that, I would mean it directly, not like I would mean it specifically.
Yeah.
The words would actually have their true meaning.
That's what makes it a dog whistle. It's the fact that people can use it disingenuously. People who feel the same way and know that they can't speak freely recognize that and go, yeah, she's on my side. And then other people hear it and they're like, I don't hear anything wrong with that.
I hate that. God, this is just one of the billion things that I hate with this fucking world.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like people who speak plainly. Like,
yeah,
but
that's what I mean too. Is like, to me, that was plainly.
It just wasn't.
Because it's of who she is or how she is or whatever. That's what I was saying. I was saying, like, I would need more context to know about her.
So I wish you would watch Contrapoints. Her latest video is about J.K. Rowling, and she's just like Contrapoints. I know, I understand.
And like your other suggestions too, I don't like their videos.
I know. But the reason I say that is because she talked about, like, people who say stuff like that, and her response
she's not
is
the only one to say stuff about that.
Yes, I know. But what her response is, like, okay, so you're just making a statement, but what is the point? What are you responding to? Kind of like, again, kind of like with All Lives Matter. It's like nobody's just walking around saying all lives matter. All lives. They're responding to something, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Okay, so that I understand that.
Like, why would you just go on Twitter and say that God created genders or whatever, right? Like, why would you just say that? You have to be saying that for a reason.
That's okay. So this is my point. That's an excellent point, and I totally agree, and I like that. What I was saying, my argument now, just as an observer and a bystander, and not knowing, like I said, I've only heard bad things about her, and they all make sense to me. Generally speaking, everything bad I heard about her, and then I saw what they were talking about, and I was like, holy shit, that lady's an evil bitch. But if this was my first time ever seeing this clip or anything about her, and I never knew anything, and this tweet, I saw this tweet personally, this is just me personally, if I read this message saying she's transphobic and then I watched that clip, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what makes it an effective dog whistle.
Well, no, that's what makes that tweet ineffective.
Oh, well, I guess it depends on.
Like, you gotta give me context. If you want to point out why this lady's evil, you don't show me that clip by itself.
Well, a lot of people know that that's a dog whistle. Like, people who are kind of involved in trans.
Well, that's not my point, though. My point is, now, it's kind of like, even I went through this, and I still have, I learned a lot in 2020, but I still learn. But there are so many people, this is why it kind of makes me mad, and this is why politics is so hard. Because when you have shit like this, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, like, there are going to be people that are going to see that, and they're going to disagree with it. They're going to be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, there's nothing transphobic about that. And then they're not going to look further into it. Because they already feel attacked and like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
You know? So that's my point, is like...
I guess it just depends on who, like, Jordan is the
tweeter.
He's
a popular reporter. I came across so many people.
It's at who? I can't read it.
At Jordan UHL, I think.
Okay, so if Jordan is talking to people who already know, then that's fine. If he's trying to communicate to somebody who doesn't understand, why would that be considered transphobic? Then he would have to go into more detail. But it's. I would imagine that if he played that clip, he assumes that people watching it know exactly what he's talking about.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the reason that this stuff makes me mad, because I get it too. I get simplifying, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to me. But
it's kind of like preaching to the choir. If you're trying to get new converts, that's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's kind of the same thing with All Lives Matter, where it just goes under the radar because you're so busy with your other stuff that is consuming your life.
And it reminds me of the same. Now, for example, another example, it's in relation, sort of. I noticed it more and more, and this is another thing I had to learn as well. Because I get it. Like, people are so specifically pissed at the Democratic Party because they are not fighting the Republican Party like they say they will. And that's nothing new either. But so what drives me, and it took me this long too, to really recognize all the specifics in that stuff, because, like, if I hadn't paid so much more attention in 2020 like I did, and my, oh God, I killed my brain over it. But if I was as casual as I ever was before, I would see how evil the Democratic Party was, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna vote for Republican instead.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with that shit.
Yeah.
Because people are pointing out, and the reason they do it is because all these people that do this, what they're doing is they're assuming that everybody already knows that the Republicans are evil, horrible things,
right?
Whatever. So they'll just be like, you see, now, like, even the Democrats are fucked up,
Yeah.
But they're not it's so.
I guess it depends
general.
on who's reporting the news. Like, who are you listening to?
Well, it's a very common thing. That's what.
But everybody has their own bias, right? So if you're specifically, like, watching people who make Republicans look good, like, they'll take a quote from a Republican where they say something that you agree with, or that it sounds reasonable.
That's why people like Trump.
And then back to back play a clip.
Also why people like Biden.
Shut up. Back to back play a clip of somebody who, like a Democrat who says something gross or weird or disgusting, then that is going to bias the person who's watching it. You have to have more of an understanding of the what's actually going on as a whole. And to do that, like, you have to diversify who you're listening to. It can't just be somebody that, like,
you can't use the same source.
Can't use the same source, and then also, like, just,
and you basically shouldn't use any of the main media.
I agree, but also it's good to listen to people who you don't agree with on everything, but that you trust. Like, you trust that they have integrity in what they're sharing with you. So even if you don't agree with them, you believe that they believe what they're saying. Whereas if you listen to any politician, you're just like, are you even like, you're not even saying anything. Like, shut up. Like, say something, say anything. Like, it's just double talk.
Well, when they do actually say something, it's all lies.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is, like, you can't believe anything they say. So It's just frustrating. You can't just be like, I like Hillary Clinton, and then only listen to Hillary Clinton's speeches and think that you have a good grasp on politics, because everything that she says, and this goes for anybody, I'm just using her as an example, but everything she says is going to be biased towards her beliefs and what she wants to have happen, and her spins on her own crimes, and whatever. I'm not a Hillary fan, but I also understand that she's been vilified beyond like beyond the things that she has done.
We talked about that before. I remember and now this is a new thing, but having learned more than I knew when we first talked about this, but I remember the one thing that I always thought was funny when people were vilifying Hillary Clinton, the big main event was, oh, she took her work home with her.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the number email? One big thing. Yeah. She worked from home. Oh no. Like, fucking idiotic, man.
If she was a man, they would have been complimenting her on her work ethic.
You're right. But so you had talked about a little bit about personality thing, and I remember we discussed this many episodes again at this point. But we remember we were talking about identity politics, and I remember when you first described it to me, I was like, "Oh, then I didn't understand it." And we went further into it that I forgot to come back to that and explain what I meant by that. So identity politics, what I came to an understanding of what it was to me, it wasn't when you identify a person and what they believe in by being Republican or Democrat or whatever. Identity politics to me became actors in politics. And watching people give statements like Biden or Trump or the Congress people, that's what I thought identity politics was.
I guess maybe that's not completely inaccurate, especially if what they're saying is if you have Biden saying, and the Republicans blah 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 blah, as opposed to just saying people who are voting this way or people who want this specific thing, and not naming them as a party.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I thought after it's so stupid. When you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still wrong. But no, basically to me, identity politics was personality politics, because that's just what I think of when I think identity is personality.
Oh. No, identity politics is using your political kind of group that you associate with as I only agree with this, or I would never agree with the other side.
I have a friend, well, sort of, somebody I met online who I consider a friend, but he's not a close friend. But it was probably a few weeks ago. But he was like, and I've seen many people say this. They're like, well, I may disagree with them, but I'll never not be a Democrat. They're stuck with their party. Ugh. They literally say this too. They've actually said this to me in very specific, detailed words.
What's so weird about that is that the Democrat Party can shift. You know what I mean?
It has. Both parties are Republican.
Well, but also just specifically, people are like Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, but what they're leaving out is that the parties kind of shifted at a certain point where Republicans became Democrats and Democrats became Republicans.
That's exactly what we saw this year too.
What they were standing for.
When people were like, "Oh, we're no longer with Trump," and then they literally joined the Democratic Party. The Republican Party members literally left the Republican Party to join the Democratic Party.
I don't think that's the same thing, because basically what happened is just that the values switched names, basically. So they just switched the definition. So Republicans used to be the more socialist, and then at a certain point the Democrats were
similar, but I see what you mean.
So it was just Republicans used to be left and Democrats were right, and then at a certain point
I didn't even know that part. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Well, it
happened because of somebody like Trump. I forget which president it was, but basically there's a president who pretended to be a Republican or I don't even remember.
It's like when Hitler said he was a socialist.
Yeah, but it's like Trump so many people are against him that it just kind of muddies the water of what a Republican and a Democrat is. Yeah. And when that happens, then you can make a switch. But, I mean, honestly,
The way our world is right now, especially our country, is just, it's gross and it's bad.
We're just in a weird time. I wish that we weren't born in, I wish we were born in like a, I mean, I say a better
Different
time,
era.
but that would be like, what, 10 million years from
We'd
now?
have to be on a different planet and a different species. I've thought that too many times. I have. I've told, it's one of those, we hear about it in movies and TV shows and stuff, but I mean, there is that. Whenever I hear this line, I'm like, it's 100% true. I don't belong here.
Oh, yeah, there's a movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt that says, I don't belong in this world anymore, and I'm always like, anymore?
Yeah. I've always felt so out of place, man.
Yeah, that's alienation. Alienation happens when you're oppressed and ignored, basically.
I never thought of it that way, but I mean, probably because it's such a normal thing for most people.
I mean, a lot of people do feel alienated, but I don't know if that's the majority of people.
Probably mostly poor people.
Probably. I mean, there are rich people who are alienated too, because if you have empathy and compassion for people, and you grow up in a society where only rich people are considered good, then you're gonna feel alienated from the people who are around you.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think it just has a tendency to be for people who are very sensitive, and just don't like, they notice the things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like Divergent or whatever.
Well, I mean, I love those movies. Never read the books, but I don't think I saw the third movie. I mean, there are. It's always, it's funny to me. What's really messed up? There are rich people out there that also speak out for the poor. And I can't help but be mad at the same time. Like, I appreciate that they're speaking for the poor, but I'm like, you got fucking money, Why don't you help the homeless?
But we need rich people talking
Yeah,
for
no,
us.
yeah. It's kind of, I mean, that reminds me of, like, the argument of some black people, not all of them, some black people don't like the white people speaking for them.
Yeah.
When in reality, you need that to happen.
Well, especially because white people are the majority. Like, if it was 50% black people and 50% white people, then
it could be different.
Then, like, maybe allies wouldn't be as important. But since I think black people are 12% of the population,
that's incredibly low.
You need to have people on your side when you're in the minority like that. Like, yeah, and then even women, like, we're 50% of the population, but if we don't have men who agree that we deserve equal rights, then we're fucked. Yeah.
Whoa. Even with 50%, it's still screwed.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate this world so much.
Yeah. Let's listen to that song.
Yeah, I did interrupt you when you were talking about you had one thing to say about the rich, and it reminded me of the because we were speaking about rich people speaking for poor people. You did have a brief before I interrupted you. Did you? I don't remember. I don't know.
I think I was just talking.
Okay, because it just reminded me. I was like, it reminded me. It was very similar to me of the because I remember that for a while. First, I saw people were like, black people would speak out saying like, yeah, we do want white people to help speak for us, like to just spread the word basically. Yeah. And then some people were pissed. Then they were like, I don't want white people speaking for me, like. Well, and it's which I understand.
Yeah, I think the point is not to speak for black people, but to speak
in place of or whatever.
Not in place of, but in favor of.
It'd be like if there's a white dude and a black dude standing next to each other, and they're both at the podium, and the white dude just stood in front of the black dude, like stepped right in front of him and started talking
Let's watch that SNL sketch with Seth Meyers. Because that's exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. And then we can listen to that song too.
Yeah.
Seth Meyers, do you remember what season it was?
It's the latest one.
Oh, okay.
White, I think it was White. So just look Seth Meyers, SNL, White, and then he should be White Savior. No,
White Savior. Oh, is it? No, that's the movie trailer. Oh, is it a movie trailer?
Yeah.
Thing? Okay, this is almost 6 minutes.
This is like every white savior trope.
Okay, cool. We'll check. I'm gonna mute us.
Okay.
And if you want to pause it and at a part, just tell me to pause it.
No, that's fine.
No, I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
So we'll watch this and we'll. All right. Here we go.
This spring, see the story of the black woman who became a world-renowned scientist, an accomplished cellist, and activist, and a man who was white while she did it.
Her mic was too high, but I fixed it. It's fixed because of me. You're doing great.
White Savior. It's got all the things white people love in movies about racism. Like that scene where they're in a bar and the white person sticks up for the black person.
This bar don't serve people like you.
I have just as much a right to be here.
Hey, she's with me.
Oh, sorry about that, Jack.
That's all right, Bubba. How are the kids?
Good. Really good.
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 Great.
That thing where a white person works closely with a black person and is surprised to learn they're smart.
Oh my God. You did it.
Well, I've always been pretty good at math.
Well, you should go to school for it.
I did.
Well, you should get a job in it.
I have one.
You do? Where?
Here. I'm your boss.
You? Wow.
Now, clean this up and get me a coffee.
No.
There's also the part where the black person very calmly eviscerates a white person in a way that makes white audiences think that was the day racism was solved, and makes black audiences think I had to do that same last week. Don't forget the part where the black person bravely defies racist laws. And then the white guy steps in like he's some sort of goddamn hero.
You should be ashamed of yourselves, ladies. You know, it's people like you who...
I can't go with you standing out there.
Oh, okay, let's...
And one racist who's so cartoonishly racist that other racists watch this movie and say, well, at least I'm not that racist.
Well, look at what we have here. If it ain't another gabba-de-goo-goo, gaga-goo-goo-doodle, a gaga-guggle-guggle.
From the makers of Green Book, Hidden Figures, The Help, The Blind Side, Dangerous Minds, Glory, Cool Runnings, Radio, Hardball, The Ghost of Mississippi, The Principal, A Time to Kill, Freedom Riders, Sunset Park, The Air Up There, and Wildcats.
Hey, thanks for everything.
You're welcome. Now, don't you go falling in love with me.
I won't, because that doesn't test well with audiences.
People magazine says this movie is a triumph, and the black person it's based on says this is not at all how it happened. And if you're a black person hoping for the catharsis of watching a black character punch a racist, you'll get the next best thing. The white guy punching a racist.
If I'd have done that, they'd have locked me up until I died.
Plus, a scene where the white guy is helpful in a way that doesn't advance the cause of all black people, just the one he's friends with.
Huh?
It also has stuff like this.
I know what it's like for you. And there's nothing worse than feeling like an outsider. Like one time, when I was in junior high, I got some toilet paper stuck to the bottom of my shoe, and the other kids, well, you know how kids can be. They called me Mr. Poop Shoe. Felt like it went on for weeks, but it was actually probably only about 5 minutes before someone told me and I took it off, but yeah, I understand racism.
Featuring a scene where the white character introduces the black character to something they definitely already knew about.
I'm gonna teach you about a little something called jazz.
And no white savior movie is complete without a white woman adopting a black person.
I'm here to adopt you.
Adopt me? I'm older than you.
You will no longer want for anything in this world.
Word. Bye, children. Hey, Mommy, what's for dinner?
Well, I guess I'd have to ask the chef.
Chef!
Some movies examine the complexities of race relations in America. This movie does not do that. But according to The Root, it does push a black helplessness narrative that paints black people as passive in their own history. Plus, it's corny. And you know this movie was written by a white person because the black person becomes friends with the racist.
You know what, Loretta? You're all right.
Thanks, Earl. For some reason, earning your respect is something I'm interested in.
White Savior, in theaters this spring. And coming soon, the Rosa Parks story told from the perspective of a white guy who was also on the bus, Rosa and Kevin.
Hey! This seat's free.
Oh, that was pretty much perfection.
Yeah.
Me and my sister were cracking up the whole freaking time, dude. Oh my gosh, that is so damn funny. White Savior, the movie trailer. That was Late Night with Seth Meyers. He did Daily Show, didn't he, or no?
No, he did SNL.
Oh, okay.
He did the news update on SNL.
I forgot because you, if I remember right, you used to like him a lot.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned him to me before, who was the first guy that you were a fan of on the Daily Show?
Jon Stewart?
Yes. Yes. It might have been in the same time period too, but I remember you used to, during your big fandom of Jon Stewart, I remember you mentioning Seth Meyers as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no, I like him.
Okay.
I think he's funny, and he seems nice.
Mm-hmm. That was freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh. that is pretty much perfection. And then this was written by a white person because the black person becomes friends with the racist. That by itself is probably the best line for me in that whole damn trailer. That was so freaking funny.
For me, it's
dude.
still the whites only sign and Loretta.
And Loretta. You told me about that, and a friend or whatever.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name, but yeah.
That is super funny. For the recording, that was a silent part where they were talking about it, but then you didn't see the whites only sign, and then he hand wrote on the sign and Loretta. Where's the group of black people around her? God. Oh my gosh, dude, that was funny, man.
Yeah, so like when she's standing up for herself and then he steps in, like that's what we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But we do want to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a platform, then use it to say something good, and then if you don't want to be using somebody else's platform, and then it's funny because like I watch a lot of lefty videos, and they'll be like, so I'm going to talk about racism, and what you should do is turn off this video and go watch a black person talk about
right?
racism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then they're
It's
like,
not so
but if you're
easy
going to
to-
watch
yeah,
me,
yeah.
this is what I'm going to say.
Well, I mean, you know what? That's actually a perfect example there too, because like when we've talked a bit about transgender stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep telling me to go to their videos, and I'm like, I don't want to. I have tried. I did. I went and I did go watch a little bit of their stuff, and I mean up to a half hour or so of each of them. Contrapoints and Philosophy Tube.
Which video of Contrapoints did you watch?
I don't remember. It might have been one of their most recent ones. I don't remember. I was trying to check it out. It's not that it's presentation and personality and stuff.
Can we watch Contrapoints out of context? Like it'll be like 6 minutes or something.
Okay.
I just want you to see
Yeah,
it. 'Cause
that
she's
sounds
so
fine.
funny. Like in between like making good points, like she's so fucking funny.
Because to me, it has nothing to do with the transgender thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you've recommended me many YouTubers that you really enjoy,
Yeah.
and I try to watch them, and I'm like, this ain't for me, kind of like. And it's the same thing for me when all my friends recommended PewDiePie. I was like, no,
Oh yeah.
no.
Well, and we both like Shoe on Head, but you like her a lot more than I do.
Yeah, and then there's Boogie. He's got millions. He's another gamer YouTuber,
Oh, okay.
and he had everybody recommended videos all the time, and I go watch them. I'm like, no, this is not for me. I don't like this stuff. But it's funny about that, as it even comes to jokes and certain sense of humor. Because I have a pretty good sense of humor, but there are certain things I just don't think are funny.
Yeah.
Not especially now, but
I think
I never
also
really did.
like my first Contrapoints video, I wasn't sold completely. It took me a few to be like, okay, I kind of see what her like. I wasn't a fan right away. I had to watch a few videos, but the reason that I watched more videos is because I liked some of the things that she said in her first video. But I still took me a while to kind of make up my mind.
Well, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, it also depends on the content itself. There's just some things I don't. I mean, we talked about that before too. Like, I'm not interested in my ancestry, my history. Like, I don't care.
So the reason that I started watching Contrapoints is because the first video I watched from her was called Incels, and the reason I watched it is because I kept seeing the word on Facebook, but I didn't know what it meant. People just kept throwing it out as an insult.
I forget what that is.
So I started watching it, and I watched it mostly just to find out what that meant, and because she kept getting recommended to me because I was watching like Philosophy Tube and like Thought Slime and stuff, and people watch the same videos. And Lindsay Ellis and stuff like that. So she kept getting recommended to me, and there was a video called Incels, and I was like, oh, okay. So I started watching it, and there was a lot that I liked. But I was still kind of like, but why does she have to like wear the costumes? Why didn't she just talk like a person? And then I went back and watched some of her other videos. One of the reasons that got me into like lefty videos in the first place is because people would approach me and say like racist things. Like they'd lean forward and say something racist, like
near someone else that's a different that's a minority or something.
No, they'd they kind of like, because I was a cashier for a long time, so I'd be like ringing them up. And then they'd like lean forward, and when anybody leans forward to whisper,
it's gonna be something bullshit.
Either racist or they want to know where the bathroom is. That's the only two reasons.
That's kind of funny about the bathroom one.
No, it's the only two reasons. But they look around and then they like lean forward, and I'm just like, oh, please be looking for the bathroom. Please be looking for. But they'd say something racist, and I never knew what to say back. I was like, I don't feel that way.
Why wouldn't they just randomly lean in to tell you something racist though?
It wasn't usually like I'm a Nazi, I'm a secret Nazi. It was like, oh, these Armenians or whatever, because we live in Glendale. There's a lot of Armenians.
Oh, because you're a white person. Yeah, so we live in Glendale, which is basically. I think when we first moved in here too, even my friends at work, at which almost all of them were Armenian. But so even an Armenian will tell you this about Glendale. It is Little Armenia.
Yeah, it's called Little Armenia.
Yeah.
A lot of people when they move to the United States this is one of the places they come because they already have family here or like friends of family or whatever, and so that's why there's so many Armenians here. Yeah. So anyway,
we've always been around people of all kinds of races.
Yeah. So anyway, so they just lean forward and be like, oh, these Armenians, or this Armenian woman pushed me, or whatever.
It's just, you wouldn't believe an Armenian woman pushed me. Like, what did you do, you dumb bitch?
She just reached over me when I was like in front of the apples, like picking up all the apple space, and she just like reached over me instead of waiting, and I'm just like, oh, that must be so difficult for you.
I highly doubt that's actually true.
Especially because they were Armenian. If they were white, it would have been fine.
People do that too, man. They will literally like make something up. Like they probably were next to them grabbing an apple, and they'll say something like that. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just like it was so frustrating to not know what to say, and so I started.
You said, "Shut up." I'm just kidding.
But then also people say ignorant shit like black on black crime and whatever. Like the dog whistles. I never knew what to say to the dog whistles.
That's the number one argument whenever you talk about police brutality.
Yeah.
They come up with, but black people just kill themselves all the time.
Right. And then there were more white people killed by cops than black people, and blah blah blah.
It's so insane.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh god. Anyway, I just never knew what to say back, so I started watching these videos just to try to like figure out like what do I say when people say stupid shit. The first video I watched by Contrapoints wasn't about like racism, but a lot of her other videos were. And so when I started watching her videos, like, oh, okay, and because she's funny, like, so I'd be like, all right. So I like that she approaches everything with humor and empathy. So my favorite thing about the incels videos, and then the incel video, and then also the J.K. Rowling video, is that she's like, I completely understand where you're coming from, but here's where we part ways. So,
Oh, you know, it's funny. No, I don't. It's you just reminded me. I can't remember what the specific conspiracy was, but QAnon stuff.
mhm.
I recently saw something and I was reading through it, and I was reading. Man, it was like a couple paragraphs, like long paragraphs, and everything in this was a QAnon thing. But the reason that I was like, I thought I was reading normal shit is because it wasn't only QAnon. It was very normal government bullshit stuff that we recognize of the horrors of our system.
Yeah.
And then I got towards the bottom, and it got into like some really crazy shit. And I was like, oh. And that's why I was like, son of a bitch. No wonder it's kind of like when politicians lie to you. It's so easy because there's all this other believable stuff. But you know, once you get to that point where it's like psychotic nonsense, wouldn't you recognize that? Like, I can agree with the rest of it, but when you get me here, I'm no longer with you, you know? Like,
well, that's the thing, is like the hook is so if you look at cults, like why people join cults, generally speaking, when you're first introduced to the cult, it's just a bunch of people who agree,
care for each other, and
they agree on various ideological issues, right? And it's not until like Scientology, for example, like you go in and you get a personality test, and they say, here's what's wrong with your personality, and then you don't.
That by itself would not get me in there. I'd be like, yeah, please. You can shove that up your ass.
Well, that's the thing, is a lot of people.
The first thing they tell you is what's wrong with your personality. That's already a red flag.
You're like, well, essentially what they say is basically there's something that's going wrong in your life,
like,
right?
And that, yes,
you
for
know?
sure. Yeah.
And it's like, who's going to say no to that? Everybody has something that they feel like they need to work on and that they feel lost about, right? And so I have a class.
But if you were to tell me specifically, here's what's wrong with your personality.
That's not how they phrase it. That's just how I phrase it.
You would not be able to get me in your door.
So there's that, and then there's like love bombing, which is like, oh, we're so happy to have you.
Yeah.
It's why it's like,
that part's great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then there's, you know, and then it's not until like you've come in with like the good stuff, and you've got the good stuff like Jordan Peterson, stand up straight, brush your teeth, clean your room, and it's like, that's all fine. And then it's like, we are basically what people should be more like lobsters, and you know, women only wear makeup for, you know, whatever. So it's just, you know, it's just like when they first get your attention, it's
for one thing.
It's for the common sense, like anybody could agree with this kind of stuff. And then you decide you like them, and then you're more invested, and then
sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, it's okay. And then all of a sudden, like, you're like believing in Xanu and shit. You know.
Well, no, see, that's the thing, though. I mean, that's the way you say that. All of a sudden, you believe in Xanu. Like, wouldn't that be like, oh, never mind, I'm done here. I gotta go.
Well, it is for some people. It is for some people, but also you have to consider, like, part of being in a cult is that either you are isolated from other people because you have a sense of alienation, or maybe you just have a lack of family.
Yeah.
Or maybe
have
trouble finding friends.
On, man.
So if you build up your entire social system, and your entire social system is within this cult, and because something that cults do intentionally is they decide, at some point they have you decide that the people outside of the cult just won't understand you. They're just negative and they don't get it.
Well, you know what's funny about that? That's an interesting take, because I have always felt that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not in a cult.
You're in a cult of one.
Right. The germs.
Created your own cult.
No, yeah, no. So, I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, I think part of that, too, like, we talked a little bit about that before, too, is where...
But leaving becomes impossible because your entire social system, maybe even your job, is based around this group of people, or, you know, whatever. And it doesn't have to be a cult. It could be, you know, politics, or, you know,
regular religion,
working at a comedy club,
anything,
whatever
any
kind
of group you're in. Yeah.
And then stepping away, it's like, you know, it's it's
The
losing
Babysitter's Club.
It's losing your family. It's losing part of your identity. It's you have to change everything when you leave.
We
and
don't have to.
You're kind of left with nothing, especially because if you're questioning the things that you've been taught in this group.
Well, I mean, if 90% of the stuff you agreed with and 10% you didn't, it's not like you have to drastic.
At a certain point, though, you start to wonder, like, what is real?
Oh, that's true.
And then it's like losing yourself,
okay.
you know, at least for a little while, and then you have to figure out who you are and what you actually believe in. And okay, so I believe this aspect, but do I believe this aspect? You have to question everything and start all over. So I don't know why we started talking about that.
I don't remember either what triggered that specific part of the conversation, but what you did remind me because I said it wasn't a cold or something. I can't. But it reminded me of our previous conversation, one of our previous conversations, how we were talking about being a conformist and nonconformist, and it's literally in certain things, it's impossible for me to understand conformity.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation and why they conforming or whatever is happening.
Yeah. Well, I think that you just have.
Because to me, I'm just like, why? Just why? Like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. So the thing is, you want to know why, and what cults do is they say, "Oh, I know why," right? We all want to know why, and nobody wants to hear. We don't fucking know, you know. Like we have the answers. I was at the laundromat, and this guy walked up, and he's like, "What question do you have? I have the answer for you." And I was like, "Why is God such a fucking asshole?" I think I said it nicer than that.
That's so funny. What did he say?
He I don't know.
You remember? Oh,
he
man,
eventually,
I'm very curious.
He was just like, "Well, if you ever change your mind."
He had no answer then. That's sad.
I mean, when he approached me, like, Mom had just died, and I was very angry, and I was like, "Why did God make me watch my mother die?" You know? Oh, how do you answer that? You know, it's just like, well, he has his reasons.
Well, if he had
thanks,
a real
that's
answer,
helpful, you know?
oh right, yeah. And the funny thing about that is it's not such a bad answer. It's just such a stupid answer, you know.
Well, it's not an answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's
why
like,
bother even saying that?
It's like if somebody said, "What's the answer to 2 + 2?" and you're like, "Well, it's a number." You know, it's not inaccurate. It's just not helpful.
It's whatever you want it to be. I like that one. Damn, I had another thought too, because it was like a few lines ago. You gave me another thought, and now I forget what it was. But that's fine, whatever. It was kind of related to the conformity and non-conformity or whatever. Is conformity a word? I don't even know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't have, like, you're just a kind of natural born rebel, you know. So that's probably why it's hard for you to understand. But the other thing that happens is if you're so desperate for answers and somebody says, "I have them," and they, like, okay, so I ask you 2 + 2 and you say 4, and I'm like, "Well, I know that." And they say, "What's 2x - 1?" And then you say, "I don't know, what, a half." I think it's a half. And then I'm like, "Oh, well, I understand algebra enough to know that." And then I say, "Well, what is, you know, the E = MC squared, like, whatever." And then I don't know. But you say anything, I'm going to believe you because I don't already know the answer to that. But you also have credibility with me because you answered the first 2 questions right.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like you just get sucked in.
Well,
and we have a tendency, like, to so desperately want, like, answers.
That's what's weird to me.
We're not good at living with "I don't know."
See, I remember what I wanted to say too. It was one I was saying a few lines ago. The answers part. That's what's weird to me because it depends on the question. There are plenty of questions I couldn't care less about the answer. Well, for example, in evolution and certain things like that scientifically, it took me a long time to recognize and to really, because I've seen it. The theories, all this theory stuff is always changing. That's why they're called theories. Even the evolution theory, you know, theory of evolution is a theory. So those and it's not just that stuff. Like stuff we're always discovering new things and on our own planet, which is nuts, man.
Isn't that
Well,
crazy?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a cool thing, especially underwater, like ocean stuff. And it really
Mhm.
sucks because at the same time as we're discovering all these amazing things about our own planet, we're also destroying the living shit out of it.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, it's um so there are certain questions I really don't care about being answered. I always laugh. I can't help but laugh when people talk about billions of years ago as if they know it as a fact. I'm like, there ain't nobody ever in our existence at all that knows what happened a billion years ago. You can take that shit and shove it up your ass. It's one of the stupidest things I ever heard. Billions of years ago, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, and they're like, I understand the how what the hell is it called? I'm trying to think of the word. Investigating or researching and stuff can lead you to certain conclusions. Like that I get.
Yeah.
I understand logical conclusions and stuff like that, but there's a certain point where they're just literally guesses.
Yeah.
So, stop trying to act like this stuff is a fact when
I took I took a geology class as my science requirement when I was getting my AA, and my teacher just happened to be very young and very cool and like very into like science and
Do
stuff.
you remember their name?
No.
Okay.
But she the thing that she kind of drilled into us was that the scientific method is about trying to prove your theory wrong. So you come up with a hypothesis.
That's interesting.
And then you do experiments to try to prove it wrong. If you can't prove it wrong, then we're going to assume it's right for now until there becomes a way for us to prove that it's wrong. And so that's how we've come up with a fact.
That's such a weird thing.
A science fact is something that we just haven't been able to prove wrong yet. And
what's funny to me about that?
Well,
it's kind of weird. It doesn't seem the right way to do things. Like I get it, it's an interesting thing, but it also seems kind of stupid.
well, what I like about it is that growing up, I was always taught that science is science. You know? It's indisputable
like
and
I said,
unchangeable,
again,
and it's
it
the
depends.
answers.
It depends on the question and the actual.
But the truth
subject,
is that the truth is just that science is just as fluid and flexible as any kind of art form. They just
That's what's great
use
about
high tech tools to find things, and it's great. Like it's great that it is more flexible.
As long as people recognize it for what it is and not.
But that's the thing. Is like you don't believe in science, and it's like. It's like I don't have to believe in it because it doesn't believe in itself. It's constantly questioning things. Science is not about finding answers. Science is about finding new questions, basically. It's like, all right, well, this seems like this is what created the universe, or this is what this seems like.
There are things we've learned, but we can continue learning as we have continued learning.
When I was in, I think, 6th grade, they said that the smallest thing that they'd ever found was an atom. And then when I got to high school, or no, junior high, they were like, oh, and then if you break up the atom, there's all these things inside. And I was like, I thought the atom was the smallest thing. How's there smaller things inside of the smallest thing, Because they only know what they know until they find out something new. And so we're constantly finding new shit and pretending like science has any answer. They don't have any answers, let alone all the answers.
I don't know about any. I mean, because I'm off the top of my head, I imagine there are some actual facts within science, but
no, I would say
like biology is a scientific thing, isn't it?
I mean, there's science.
We know about human body stuff, but we're still learning about human bodies as well. Always.
Yeah. There's so much we don't know about the brain, for crying out loud. And then there was a theory going around for a long time that we only use 10% of our brain, which has been proven false. Like we only
supposedly
know
proven
like
false.
What we know in quotes is just what we know until we know something else.
Yeah.
So like I like science. I'm a fan, but I'm not using that as a belief system because it's constantly changing. What science knows and believes is constantly changing.
One thing that's always bugged me, pun not intended, but works. It's always bothered me is, I don't remember when I first heard about it, but when I first heard like science telling us that, bugs don't feel pain.
Oh, come on.
It's like, how the fuck do you come up with this stuff, dude? It's a living creature. Like it's a living creature, and you're like, oh, don't worry, it doesn't feel pain.
Just because you can't hear it scream,
right?
You know,
it's that I will never forget that. I'm just like, that is one of the stupidest scientific things I've ever.
There was a thing in science for a while that said that like vegetables do feel pain, like if you.
Oh, I forgot
kill
about
it.
that. That's funny.
And
or plants, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was proven wrong, too.
Flowers and stuff like that. Yeah. Trees, you know.
But that's the thing. It doesn't hurt to question, you know.
Yeah.
And how about if we just assume that anything feels pain and just try not to hurt it, you know? If we don't have to.
Right.
Okay. Can we watch the Contrapoints? Just Contrapoints out of context. Just any of them. There's a bunch of them.
Oh, there's a bunch.
We don't have to watch all of them. But they're all basically like 6 to 8 minutes long, so we'll find a shorter one.
What is it? Out of context?
Yeah. It's not something she puts out herself. It's like, so that's 8 minutes, 9 minutes.
I'd rather watch a 5-minute one.
Well, scroll.
We'll see if,
I love, that's H-Bomber guy. They kill me.
This one?
Yeah. Oh, no, don't click on that one. That's all left tube. So,
left tube?
Yeah.
Hell's left tube?
It's like Contrapoints and H-Bomber guy and Philosophy Tube and Lindsay Ellis and all those people. Okay, so the out of context are at the top. The rest are just Contrapoints videos. No, I guess not. I felt like I'd watched a bunch. Just click on the top one. We'll just take a look at it.
All right, and I don't know if I'm gonna watch the whole thing. So
That's okay.
We'll see how far we get.
Yeah.
We should all just listen to each other and rub each other's clothes.
I made you a wet pot of hot tea, and you can take it out on the balcony and pour it on some pedestrians. That always cheers me up. What are traps? And be they gay?
Femoids.
I'm so pathetic I have to go dumpster diving for validation. Usually when a man tells you he's dating a woman and you say, oh, what's she like? And he says, she's from Cincinnati, your response is not, oh, David, I didn't realize you were into that sort of thing. But look, human beings have 5 senses. Centaur Donna Summer charging at you with a spanking paddle. Cheers. Shut the fuck up, nerd. Stop playing 3D chess against your own brain and find a real thing to worry about. My daddy Dom went on Vice News last year. You that the word women makes adult females sound just a little bit too human? See?
I think this is stuff you'd have to be familiar with their content.
Yeah, maybe.
The one I laughed at, I forget what the hell it was, but it was funny.
Donna Summer Centaur charging it.
Oh, was that the one?
Yeah.
But we do have that other video.
Oh yeah, let's do the song.
So this was oops. This was something. Now this is Tom MacDonald, and Dark Alchemy introduced me to him for the first time, and this was because I couldn't stop talking about politics. He kept all year he kept telling me stop it, you're driving me crazy. And I'm like, I can't.
Was he calling you fake woke or
no? Oh no. I think it's a brand new video.
Okay.
It just came out, which is why he shared it with me. It came out the end of last month, and he just knows I liked the guy because when he shared one video with me. I can't remember which video he shared with me first, but I checked it out and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. So I went and looked at his channel. I'm actually subscribed to him. And I was like, all right, I'm going to watch his other videos. And I watched a bunch of them. They're all very cool. And then when I watched this where I was like, this is some dumb bullshit. And this is a song called Fake Woke, which as an argument, like I've seen it mentioned a bunch of times and I've seen a lot of good arguments too. Like there are plenty of good arguments that call out people for being fake woke. But this specifically, and I'll really quickly talk about this before we start it. I told my sister this when I first heard this, though. At the beginning of the song, he calls out Eminem for like dissing on Trump supporters, and Eminem said he didn't want Trump supporters, and So this guy's like, motherfucker, you used to bash on gay people and all this stuff, whatever. So he's pissed off at Eminem, calling him fake woke because he doesn't want shit. But I'm just, not only do times change, people change, whatever. But I was pissed because I was like, are you going to get mad at people for being anti-Hitler? Like, this is one of the stupidest things. It just pissed me off. So I actually, like, much later, recently, maybe a few days ago or so, I finally actually watched this whole video.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I didn't even watch it when I first told you about it because I was like, I'm not gonna. This is nonsense. I didn't unsubscribe though, not yet. This specific, like, I can understand, feeling a certain way, but my comment to him was like, you should delete it. I said this is a bad take. It's just a bad take. But what's really funny to me about this is Dark Alchemy recently, like the other day, he linked me. Let me see. He linked me another video. And it was related to Tom MacDonald, this guy. Oh, yeah, it's a news interview. I forgot. I haven't watched this yet. I think I was in bed or I was busy. I hadn't watched it yet. But the headline here is Canadian rapper calls out woke America. Dark Alchemy tagged me. He said he's ... Canadian. And I was like, oh, of course he is. That makes sense. That's why you can call out fake woke in America as a Canadian person. When you have it better already by default, even though shit sucks in the world and everything sucks everywhere. Like, we're definitely far more screwed in America than the Canadians are at the moment. I thought that was so funny. So that's just, to me, that kind of, it did come off as a different perspective. I was like, maybe because he's Canadian, I can understand that he sees things differently because he doesn't see it as an American, and that makes sense to me.
Okay. Can you put on the captions?
Let me see. Let me see.
It's the little settings. Oh, maybe it's not.
No. Well, not all of them have captions.
Oh, I guess not.
Crap. Whoops.
Maybe he'll have captions in the video.
Yeah, no, because I know I've seen the caption thing in the settings before, but it's not here.
Okay.
It might just be, maybe his video doesn't have it.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna play it. We'll be on mute while we play this song.
I think it's crazy I'm the one who they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. There's rappers pushing Xanax at the top of the billboard, but if I mention race in a song, I'm scared I'll get killed for it. It's backwards, it's getting exponentially dumb. It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun. Eminem used to gay bash and murder his mom, and now he doesn't want fans if they voted for Trump. We're ashamed to be American. You should probably love it, cause you have the right to hate it and not get stoned to death in public. As children we were taught how to walk and talk, but the system wants adults to sit down and shut up. Cancel culture runs the world now, the planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association. All our childhood heroes got Me Too'd or they're rapists. They never freed the slaves. They realized that they don't need the chains. They gave us tiny screens, we think we free cause we can't see the cage. They knew that race war would be the game they need to play. For people to big teams, they use the media to feed the flame. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings. I think it's crazy how these people screaming facts, but they fake woke. Hate their neighbor cause he wears a mask or he stays home. Has a daughter but his favorite artist said he slays hoes. Picks her up from school, music slaps on the way home. Censorship's an issue cause they choose what they erase. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. I think Black Lives Matter was the stupidest name, when the system's screwing everyone exactly the same. I just want to spend Thanksgiving Day with food and my family, without being accused of celebrating native casualties. We got so divided, it's black and white and political. Republicans are bigots, libtards if you're liberal. There's riots in our streets and it's just getting worse. Y'all screaming deep on the police, y'all are genius for sure. They're underfunded already, they're way too busy to work. Order food and call the cops, see what reaches you first. Segregation ended, that's a lie in itself. That was a strategy to make us think they were trying to help. They knew that racism was hot if they designed it to sell. We buy up every single box and divide us ourselves. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings. We use violence to get peace and wonder why it isn't working. That's like sleeping with a football team to try and be a virgin. Politicians are for sale and someone always makes the purchase, but you and I cannot afford it. Our democracy is worthless. If a man has mental illness, call him crazy, say it silently. When country's going crazy, we accept it as society. Get sick and take a pill. When the side effects get you high, you get addicted like these rappers dying fighting with sobriety. Censoring the facts turns our children into idiots. They claim it's for our safety. I'll tell you what it really is. Removing information that empowers all the citizens. The truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate. They're trying to change amen to amen and women. How'd we let them make praying a microaggression? Instead of asking God for the strength to keep winning, we cheat to get ahead and then we ask him for forgiveness. Feminism used to be the most righteous of fights, but these days it feels like they secretly hate guys. I don't trust anyone who bleeds for a week and don't die. I'm just kidding, but everything else that I said is right.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings.
I mean, it's catchy.
That's another thing, because when I finally, I mean, I have a dislike on the video, but I agree with about 80% of what's said in it, you know?
Yeah, I think some of it is just same old, like,
Yeah, I felt the same, but I thought the same exact thing. To put it simply, but like, I've heard this shit before, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like white guy denialism, and then the rest is like...
There is a lot of truth to it. That's what's messed up about it. And
can you pull up the lyrics so we can?
Oh, let me see. What? So
it's hard for me to tell like where he's coming from sometimes because some of the things he says are right, but I don't know which ones are jokes because like he's like facts don't care about your feelings. That's the Ben Shapiro thing. He was not a lefty, who is not fake woke. So like, what is the context of him saying
no,
that?
the interesting here. Hold on. The interesting thing to me about that pisses me off specifically about facts don't care about feelings is we literally just talked about this specifically with science, but this also happens especially in politics. Facts change.
Yeah.
Facts are not facts. Facts are often lies. Yeah, facts are very often lies, and that's what pisses me off about that.
Lies. It might be misunderstandings. You know, bad theories.
So just that specific line by itself drives me nuts. And I remember when I first heard of that, I was like, I don't disagree, but at the same time, what facts are you fucking talking about? Like, fuck your facts. Because these are the facts that you're talking about when you're referring that your fake ass facts don't care about my feelings. Fuck your facts.
Well, Ben Shapiro is the kind of person who would say that, like, black on black crime is a bigger deal than whatever. And then he's also someone who could quote the statistic that more white people get killed by cops than black people. Yeah. Like ignoring the fact that there's a completely different like ratio of black to white people in America.
They the funny thing to me, the other one that was one of them for me, and then the other one is did you hear about the amen a women?
Yeah, that was funny.
That was horrible. I was like,
well, okay, so there. I mean,
I was like, do you not even know what the fuck the word amen means? Like,
so be it.
Yeah, it's one of the stupidest things. I could not believe I saw that. I could not. I'm telling you, it was shocking to me. I was like, and that's exactly what I was talking about, where this is a Trump thing as well, but it's anybody that does that kind of thing. Like, that is not a spiritual or religious person. You cannot go up there and pretend we're gonna be fucking equal rights for women and men, when the word literally has nothing to do with gender. Like, literally. Amen is not amen because of man. You know what I mean?
It's just a play on words.
It's a freaking word.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
My problem with that line is just that I don't understand it. Sounds like he's complaining about feminism.
No, not the song. Literally, a politician got up and did a prayer.
And said amen?
This was a prayer. This was literally a prayer at one of the parties or whatever. The dude was up. He finished the prayer and he said, amen and a woman.
What?
I'm not kidding you. I saw this. I could not believe it. That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's singing about it.
So that's what he's referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's freaking insane.
All right. Okay. So I think it's crazy I'm the one they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. I don't understand what the problem with Cardi B is.
Well, here's the thing now. she recently put out a song that Ben Shapiro also talked about. The only reason I heard about it is because I already knew about the song, and then I saw stuff
Was
about
it
Ben
WAP?
Shapiro. Yeah, wet ass pussy. Yeah.
Who cares?
So the thing about that's interesting too. I remember when I first saw that the entire point and a very sensible argument is like, this song is not for 12-year-old girls.
Right. Like, she's not on the fucking Disney Channel.
Could you imagine that song?
Yeah.
Disney, dude, I would be pissed as hell if I saw that video on the Disney Channel. Dude.
I've never. Okay, these rappers are pushing Xanax at the top of the billboard. Are they?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with that one.
Helpful.
It's possible. I have no idea what that is. It could. I don't know. But he does put a lot of truth, so maybe it is somewhere. I don't know.
I mentioned race in a song. I'm scared I'll get killed for it. Like, what's he saying about race?
Well, so you're referring to this specific song. I couldn't get into that, but he's done a ton of songs. He has lots of stuff. So he could be referring to a previous one.
Yeah.
Where, you know, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, that specific lyric isn't something that but on this song alone we couldn't really go on that.
It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Eminem used to gay bash and murder his mom. He's never actually murdered his mom.
Right. I thought that was a weird lyric too, but they gave, like, you know, I could understand the point of view, but I just thought it was really stupid that he would use that.
That's just a bad point altogether.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We're ashamed to be American. We're ashamed to be. He says we're ashamed.
He
He's
said,
Canadian.
we're ashamed to be American. You should probably love it.
Because you have the right to say it
And not
get strung up in public.
Which is that's a good point. I've heard stories in other countries of people, if you badmouth your government, you will be murdered straight up in the streets.
Oh, because you have the right to say that you're ashamed of being American.
Yeah.
I mean, look what happened to the Dixie Chicks.
What happened? I forget. I know they changed their name, but I mean, they chose to.
They didn't change their name.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
They're the Chicks now.
Oh.
They removed Dixie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they chose to. They took it upon themselves to do that. Yeah.
Well, I guess they have blame.
What were you referring to, though?
When they said that George Bush made them feel ashamed to be Texans.
Oh, wow.
And then people were burning their records, and like they basically got like blacklisted from all of country music at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
As children we're taught how to walk and talk, but the system wants adults to sit down and shut up. 100%. Actually, children are taught to walk and talk, but we're only really taught to say what we're supposed to say. So doesn't change from adulthood to childhood. But cancel culture runs the world now. The planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist.
Which that I could understand.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
It's kind of. I mean, the reason I said it is because the whole reason that people get so pissed right now, generally speaking, I don't know if you've heard the topics or seen it, but when they talk about SJWs, is because people go too far with it. You know, they literally label everything, and no matter what you say or what you talk about, anything, they will literally call you a phobic or racist or whatever.
But he's acting like this is all like that's a very like fringe. It's not main society that's doing that.
It's just, it's an internet thing. It's anything you say everywhere. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, I get that it can be pretty rough on Twitter, but like
no, it's not just Twitter.
No,
it's everywhere.
I don't know. It just feels like an exaggeration.
It's not.
It's. I would want to know.
I've seen it. Otherwise, I wouldn't say.
I would want to know context. I would want to know.
I get you.
What is he talking? What is he saying? Is it's kind of like earlier. You're like, that doesn't sound transphobic to me, and I was like, well, here's why it is. You know. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association. All our childhood heroes get Me Too'd or they're rapists. What?
That Me Too'd or the rapist, I don't know what that one means. I know what he's referring to, but I don't know that the line makes no sense by itself.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if it means, it's just bad English, really.
Yeah,
because it means either they get Me Too'd, which means what, they're joining the Me Too movement, or they're called rapists.
Our Chinese got Me Too'd.
If they get Me Too'd, then that means that they are rapists, right? Or
it's just such a it's a bad lyric.
Bad English. Okay. Yeah. They never freed the slaves. They realized they don't need chains. Oh, that's true.
Yep.
They gave us tiny screens. We think free because we can't see the cage.
Yeah.
oh, we think we're free because we can't see the cage.
Yeah. That's part of the first line. 100% true.
That's just such a like boomer like complaint.
It's true.
Like
though.
how
It
old is this guy?
It's so true. Come on, I do really disagree that. Look at that. They gave us tiny screens. We can't see the cage. This is especially because if you think about it in the media sense, the news, and we're constantly lied to, that is a prison.
I don't know. It just sounds like a boomer complaint.
No, I mean, we do have other entertainment. I'm just saying, if you look at it specifically like that,
We do
I
rely
understand
on
it.
our...
Like, I understand it.
Yeah,
you know?
but whatever.
It's a good one. I like that one.
That's fine.
Especially the first, like, the line above that, they never freed the slaves. Because, yeah, that's 100% true.
They knew the race war would be the game they need to play for people to pick teams. They used the media to feed the flame. I don't know. That just sounds like nonsense to me.
Race war would be the game they need to play. Well, no, what are you talking? We've talked about that before too. So race is used as to separate us instead of allowing all of us to get together and actually go against the people in power.
Yeah, but who's
they?
Who's they?
That's the people in power, Krystal. Our government, the oligarch. That's why that's why they still use it. They still use race as a thing.
Okay,
that's
but
why.
They is the people in power, but then they so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. Like, who's they in that sentence?
I don't know. But the whole. Now the reason
it's
I
just
can't.
Bad writing.
Yeah, no. The reason I can't answer that is because. Well, you gotta remember, this is all. Some of this stuff, like, I can get because it's very general. It's just a song. He's just singing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Stuff.
It's like if you're trying to make a point.
This song is not directed at one single group.
But he's not differentiating who he's talking about in any particular area. If they refers to Republicans or people in government, and then it refers to leftists who are SJWs,
I gotcha.
Then
well, it's against everybody. It's whatever.
I'm just mad at everyone. Like just
I
make
mean,
a
I'm
song
mad
about
at
it.
everyone, so
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. But the fake woke thing does bug me. I understand it. I think we started talking about it before we started the video, right? Like it's been a thing. Like it's kind of reminds me of, we just talked about the other one too, where what was the line you didn't like? Where are you? What was what brought me up talking about SJWs? Oh, because
Everything
we
we
label
say is-
everything as homophobic or racist. Because I'm telling you, man, I have literally seen that all over the internet. It's freaking insane. It doesn't matter what you say. If you say anything, people will say something. They'll be like, "Oh, that's racist. Oh, that's homophobic."
Yeah, I mean, I made a tweet that said, this was before Trump was elected. I said something like, I may be crazy, but at least I'm not a racist, homophobic asshole or something like that. And then somebody responded to it and said, thanks for using the C word. Now I'm triggered. And I was like, and I think they were sincere. It didn't occur to me until later that maybe they were like trolling me. But like, there's always going to be some weirdo who like just,
well, I mean, as it's just
because like somebody's nitpicking you doesn't mean that they're speaking for like an entire group
such
of
a
people.
normal thing right now, and it has been for at least a few years, where it's extreme politically correct stuff and extreme label if you say something that disagrees with someone on a certain thing, like, oh, you're a phobic, oh, you're racist. I'm telling you, it's everything. It doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah, just sounds like white nonsense to me. So fake woke facts don't care about feelings, and like, okay, they know they won't tell me what to believe in. Who's so fake woke, same old safe zones. They so fake woke facts don't care about your feelings. It's just so vague and like, who are you yelling at? who are you? Okay, I think it's crazy how these people screaming facts, but they fake woke hate their neighbor because he wears a mask or he stays home. And has a daughter, but his favorite artist says he slays hoes. Picks her up from school, music slaps on the way home. I don't understand what the argument is. That's there. Fine. Censorship's an issue because they choose what they erase. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. I mean, I don't have an argument against that, but again, he's not being like,
It's very general.
It's so
It's
generic.
so broad.
Like
yeah,
it's
very
generic
broad,
and like
and-
somebody could be super racist and listen to this song and be like, yeah, he totally gets me. And then somebody like liberal could be like, oh yeah, I totally agree with most of what he's saying. Yeah.
I mean, this is what's funny because all this stuff you're saying is I didn't analyze it quite as hard as you did, but like I said, there's a lot of truth in it, but I did dislike the video and I still dislike the video. I dislike the song generally speaking.
Yeah.
But all the stuff I had seen before this one, I really liked.
Yeah.
Like it's good stuff. So
Maybe we
it
can
didn't
listen
make
to a
me
different
unsubscribe to them.
Because I would need more
but-
context. Because like
yeah.
honestly, with what I'm seeing here or what I heard, like it's hard. The reason I wanted to say
I
the
really
lyrics
feel
is
like
he says so many words.
I really feel like he did this.
I mean, he's trying to get attention. Obviously,
Yeah, for this specific song, it really did seem like one of those just, oh, I'm just doing this
he's
song.
definitely trolling, but I can't tell who he's trolling.
That's so funny.
When the system's screwing everybody exactly the same, 1,000% disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's white nonsense too.
Well, I think maybe that might be. Well, like, see, even the system screws black people more than it does white people in
Yeah.
Canada, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And then the line of I think Black Lives Matter was the stupidest name. So clearly he hasn't seen the proper argument for that, you know.
Well,
right?
and then I think because his argument is in the next line, when the system's screwing everybody.
Oh,
actually, so he knows what Black Lives Matter means. He's just arguing that white people are screwed the same as everybody else, and that's not true.
You know, the thing, like, it's an interesting thing to think about because I know he's wrong.
Yeah.
The messed up thing is that the horrible, hellish nightmare of the truth of that is that white people are super screwed,
Yeah.
especially poor people, and black people still have it worse.
Yeah, isn't that fucked
That's insane, and that is exactly why that specific line of the song does.
And then I just want to spend Thanksgiving Day with food and my family without being accused of celebrating native casualties. Well, then, don't. Oh my god! Like,
Why are you having a Thanksgiving dinner then? I don't know. What is your problem with that? I think that's
just
kind
get
of
together
ironic.
on a Sunday and eat food with your family.
it's kind of ironic.
And nobody's gonna argue with you that you're celebrating native casualties.
It's just like why even mention Thanksgiving?
Again, that's just like
we don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
Jesus Christ.
So
We got so divided as black and white, and political Republicans are bigots, libtards if you're liberal. There's riots in our streets, and it's just getting worse. Y'all screaming, defund the police. Y'all genius for sure.
Yeah. And he's just insulting the people that are wanting to defund the police, and they should be defunded.
They're underfunded already. Oh.
Yeah. Clearly an ignorant dumb shit.
I mean, seriously, like this is there's so much white nonsense in here. It's hard to take it seriously. But then he says segregation ended. That's a line itself. That's true.
You know, yeah, this is what's messed up because what it makes me think of is the empathy towards the people we know that become cops for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that's not the system.
Well, the reason that they say all cops are bad is because it's not because all human beings who are police officers are terrible people.
It's the system.
It's because the system doesn't allow you to help the people who need help, and it sets you up to hurt people who need help.
So even if you are a good cop, it doesn't matter.
Even if you're trying to be a good cop, you're kind of prevented. Like I was trying to be a good talent booker, and I was prevented.
Yeah.
So
because the system, the people you worked for, the company, you could not change it.
Yeah. There's only you have to work within the system, and the system is fucked.
This is why I've been saying that. Fuck the Democrats and people getting into there trying to be, we're going to change the system when it's just not going to happen.
No, we need to revolve.
I remember I thought we need to start at page 1.
What's a page
Word
one?
1.
Oh,
a blank page, start all over.
Segregation ended. That's a line itself. That was a strategy to make us think that we're trying to help. They knew that racism was hot if they designed it to sell. We buy it up every single box and divide us ourselves. That's a really great stanza.
What's he mean by single box?
We buy up
like
every
TV
single
or-
box. No, it's just like something is designed specifically for this group of people.
What stanza? You said it's a great stanza.
Like that whole just like 4 lines there.
That paragraph. What's a stanza though?
It's like it's really said for like poems, but it's like
okay.
a section of a poem.
Okay.
They so fake woke. That's stupid.
That's the chorus or whatever. Yeah.
The violence to get peace and wonder why it isn't working. Oh, use violence to get peace. That's like sleeping with a football treatment trying to be a virgin.
That's a very bad analogy.
It's
or
so
whatever.
terrible. Yeah. Politicians are for sale and someone always makes the purchase. True. But you and I cannot afford it. Our democracy is worthless. True. If a man has mental illness, call him crazy. Say it silently. While a country's going crazy, we accept it as society. I don't necessarily agree that we accept it as society. Like, I think that there's a reason why there have been riots for the past 4 years. Get sick and take a pill, which he complains about. Get sick and take a pill when the side effects get you high. You get addicted like these rappers dying fighting with sobriety. I don't know. Censoring the facts turns our children into idiots. They claim it's for our safety. I'll tell you what it really is. Removing information that empowers all the citizens. The truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate. I mean, all that's fine, like, from the censoring to the truth, like, that's fine. It's just the context of where he's saying it and the way that he's saying it is just like, okay. It's like we were talking about earlier, to get people into a cult, like, you say some things that are just undisputably true, and they're like, oh, they know what they're talking about, and then they say something totally fucking nuts, and you're like, maybe they know what they're talking about, I just don't understand it. They're trying to change amen to amen and women.
I didn't know you hadn't
So
heard
funny.
about that. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
it literally happened. I was like, what?
How do we let them make praying a microaggression? Instead of asking God for the strength to keep winning, we cheat to get ahead, and then we ask him for forgiveness. Again, like cult like inductive reasoning. Feminism used to be the most righteous of fights, but these days it feels like they secretly hate guys. I don't trust anyone who bleeds for a week and don't die. I'm just kidding, but everything else I said was right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the feminism used to be like the righteous thing is it's definitely a talking point I've heard before. I would say we were actually talking about this in a different episode where it's like I had a friend who, I went to a feminist group, and then this friend's husband came, and he was like, I try really hard to treat women. We're like, we're not talking about you, If you feel included in that, then maybe you need to look at your behavior, or just understand that we're talking as a generalization and not about you specifically.
It kind of makes me think of, which, that's what sucks too, and that actually reminds me of what I was just talking about earlier with the, that one tweet, and I was like, if I was an outsider and I went and I saw that, I would think it was one of the stupidest things I'd ever seen, specifically to that clip too. If I hadn't already could recognize that this woman they're showing I already know her to be a psycho bitch, but I still don't know enough about her. Like, I mean, I just, from impressions, I think, but I don't know her enough. But that specific clip isn't going to reinforce that.
Yeah,
it's not.
Unless you already, like, kind of know.
If I know the context behind her being transphobic, but that by itself, I would not call transphobic.
Yeah.
Even though I don't disagree with the way you even argued it too. The dog whistle thing. Like, I do get that.
Dog whistle thing, and then also saying that it's okay to post porn on Twitter, which
it is, though.
But if it's against their terms of service, then it's not.
It still is okay, though. If it wasn't okay, you wouldn't have thousands upon thousands of accounts posting porn daily, all day long.
Murder is wrong and illegal, but people still murder people.
Well, shut up. This is the internet, okay? You can't tell me that they couldn't possibly... Like, they banned me for saying the word fucking crackers, okay? And so, okay, right? I said the word fucking crackers, and I got banned permanently. It was not a temporary ban. It was a permanent ban. And you're telling me, like, oh, but, if they could, they'd stop porn because it's against their rules. No, bullshit. No.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's against the rules. People do it anyway.
Yeah, but
that doesn't mean that
I'm pointing out, though, if they could ban me for fucking saying the word crackers, they sure as fuck could close down all those porn accounts, and they don't.
What I'm saying is, she's acting like there is no terms of service against posting that.
No, she's not. She didn't. I mean, she didn't. I don't remember her mentioning terms of service.
She just says it's okay to do that. It's okay
because it basically is.
But
if they're allowing it, then I agree.
But the thing, what you don't understand about porn, Jeremy.
What I don't understand. Okay, teach me. I'm just kidding. That's so funny the way you said it. What you don't understand about porn. I'm gonna title the episode. What you don't understand about porn. I'm sorry. That shit's just way too funny. Oh my god. What don't I understand about porn? Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. I wish Mom was here to hear that. Oh my gosh. She'd probably say something just like that. Ow. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm sorry. Oh, my sides hurt so bad right now. Yeah. You broke my rib.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. Oh, I can't stop. I can't get those words out of my head. Ow. Oh shit.
Oh my god. It's so stupid.
Okay. God.
I didn't think that was gonna be that funny.
Oh god, seriously, I'm in so much pain. Ow, dude. Oh, fuck.
So my point was, I mean, they're probably shutting down these accounts a lot, but they can pop up really quickly too. You know, so I mean, I just know from like moderating my own comments on my own website, like there's so much spam. So much spam.
Yeah, but you're not $1 billion company.
That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if anybody was actually visiting my site, how frustrating it would be to, like...
But this company could have not only do their algorithms permanently ban people for saying the word cracker, but they can afford fucking staff that could actually literally moderate. You know what I mean? It's just nonsense.
I mean, they have, like, literally, like, what, billions of users? Like, how are you supposed to monitor everything that's happening on your site?
No.
And I'm not even saying that it's a priority for them. What I'm saying is that they have rules against it and people do it anyway.
I don't know what the specific rules are. There must be like a loophole or something. Because I'll tell you, there are... Every person that has an OnlyFans account that does porn on OnlyFans has a Twitter account that shares clips of their stuff. And...
Yeah, probably cleaned up clips.
No.
Really?
I've watched them. It's literally rated X.
Yikes.
All over. It's never ending. So no, it's so I'm not trying to defend her argument. I'm just saying...
Sounds like you're trying to defend her argument.
No, the way you said it was like, oh well, you know, they can't stop the porn. Yes, they fucking can. If they can ban a person for saying cracker who has under 700 followers or whatever, I mean, come the fuck
Well, that's
on,
the
man.
thing, is like, if they're making money from these bigger Twitter,
Yeah, it's like Twitch, too. Twitch will allow half nudity and all this shit on their stream, even though it is against their TOS.
Whatever makes them money, they're like, yeah,
no, it's a bunch of stupid crap.
If they're not going to get sued for it and it makes them money, they're not going to try to get rid of it. But I would imagine if it's a smaller...
That's actually the same argument that was used for why it took everybody so long to ban Trump. Because he was making the money.
Yeah. Exactly. So, so whatever makes money wins. The title for this podcast: My sister explains to me what I don't understand about porn.
Too long a title, though. That is super funny, man. No, that was where it took me off. I really was being very specific to Twitter. Get rid of her argument entirely. I'm just she's
saying,
right in a way, you know.
I'm just saying it's a bad example because she's using something that's already against the terms of service and saying that that's okay.
Yeah.
Whereas hate speech, which transphobia is also against the terms of service. So
no,
you're saying
this
that they're selectively choosing when to use
for sure. No, they're getting money. That's why they don't care. Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
but I don't feel sorry for her.
No, I don't feel sorry for her either. I just, again, contextually in that clip by itself, not knowing her history or her actual point of view and whatever, even though I can recognize that that's a really stupid way to say it,
yeah,
I would not automatically be like, transphobic! Because there's literally nothing transphobic specifically about saying I believe in male and female.
Right, that's what makes it a good dog whistle.
Yeah, no, but I'm still though. I mean, the reason I can say this so easily because this is me. I'm also I'm not transphobic and I still believe in not changing your sex.
I don't think that you're coming at it from the same place that she is.
No, I know. I'm not.
And you're totally fine with porn on Twitter, so
shut anyway.
You wouldn't use that argument anyway.
No, I mean some of the arguments I had seen was like, why is she even talking about porn? You know, kind of a thing. No, just as a human being, you will always reach for something that you can recognize as something that would work for your argument, even if it's wrong, because that's how, in your mind, that's what works. I mean, there's so many things I've had to learn about how to express myself more properly, because I was like, and there are times, I've even told you this, and I've told friends, is I'll be expressing myself, I'll be trying to explain myself, and I'll be like, I don't even know how to say this. Like, I know what I'm saying is the wrong way to put it, but I don't know how else to put it,
yeah.
You know?
I mean, we all go through that. The reason I don't feel bad for her is because I know that she's trying to use generic language to mask what she's actually trying to say.
But you're assuming that.
Yes.
Why? What if she's a really wonderful person?
Because I'm a transphobe.
Oh, okay. No, I'm curious. It was an honest question. Like she could be like, let's say this was Bernie Sanders saying that shit. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if it was Bernie Sanders saying
and then
that.
With his, with what I know about
history,
him, I would give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But also, I just don't see him saying that.
No, I know. I know that wasn't. I was just wondering.
Like, if I ever saw him say that, it'd be like, oh, they really perfected those those AI.
You'd be fucking super shocked. Yeah. Nah, it's such a trip though. But that's I'm just saying, this is something I had to specifically deal with, and the reason I learned this for myself was because I noticed a difference when I started being anti-Biden compared to when I was being anti-Trump. The way people responded to me, they will assume you're pro-Trump at that point. It's not just that you're against both if you're not specific. And that's what makes me so mad about it. I had to learn that. I'm like, oh, look, and I get it. I get the whole, sometimes you have to say a certain thing, but what I would say is if you make a tweet like that, you also put a reply to it clarifying or even adding more context, like just something. You have to be more clear especially when it comes to this stuff, because it's all fucking nonsense.
Again, it depends on who your audience is. So if he knows that the people he's posting that to,
you said that already, but usually
it's like, okay, so like you were doing your podcast yesterday and I was in here, and then after the podcast was over, I was like, what are those games? And if you had been doing your podcast for non-gamers or people new to gaming or people who, you know, whatever, like you would have stopped to explain what the game is about.
It'd be a different episode.
And then there would have been, like, you know, just a line or two about what the game's about. And then talking about it like that from then on, people would know. But your audience is people who already know the game world as well as you do, right? So you don't feel the need to stop and explain it. If he's talking like that, then he's not thinking this is coming to you. He's thinking it's going to his audience.
That's why I'm saying this is very specific to politics. That's why to me it's very different, because politics, this matters. This is a whole different level because it literally controls our world, not just our lives but our world, and that's why I think that needs more. It needs just to be more specific, more context.
I mean, if somebody like stopped and explained dog whistles every time.
No, I don't mean dog whistles. No, it's not the dog whistle. Because like we literally just went over this. If Bernie Sanders said it, you'd be surprised, but you would also
give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Somebody that you already trust, you know, is not a sexist, like crazy lunatic person. You'd be like, did they say that wrong? Kind of, you know?
Right? Or was that AI?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And then he'd probably, of course, later on correct or reword it or whatever, you know? But that's, just for me, recognizing that, because it was also hard for me. It was hard for me as a person, because we've gone over this. All my life, I've seen all the bullshit in politics, but I never went so deep as I did in 2020. Like, I never went that deep. Oh my God.
If you see a pile of shit, you're not going to want to wade knee deep.
Oh, I dived straight in and I drowned in shit. I literally drowned in it.
I blame you for that.
No, I don't blame anybody else. I do blame our world for being so shitty. I don't blame anybody for me diving into the diarrhea and swimming and drowning in it, though. But, you know, if it wasn't for that, though, I wouldn't have learned as much as I did. And anyways, I definitely... It was something I noticed. It took me a while too. It took me a while because I remember I was very anti-Trump for a long time. Very vocal, anti-Trump, anti-Nazi, anti-Hitler. And then when I learned more, the more and more I learned about Biden, I started also going anti-democratic, just generally, just the government, right? But if I state specifically, fuck Biden, the automatic assumption is pro-Trump, which is, it's insanity, but I understand it, and that's why I'm saying that even if you know your audience, you're going, like, a big part of the internet, no matter what, is you're going to find new people finding your stuff. And I even went to people, I went to people, exactly what you said. I went to people and I was questioning them, and I was like, well, what the fuck? And people would answer me, well, duh, just look at their timeline. And which I agree with. I totally understood that. It was just, in certain things like this, there was a very specific thing, again, like somebody that I respect, I followed for a long time, and I if I wasn't banned, I'd still be watching their stuff. But, you know, their message is awesome. Like, every time they post, I'm just like, whoa, you know? But one time she posted something and I was like, well, hold on. Like, there's something missing here, you know? And basically a bunch of people replied saying, just search the internet, you know? And I'm like, well, she offered it, you know? Like, like, present it to me, you know? Like, so that's all. That's just my point. Like, you know, but I get it. I do get it. I do understand why you don't always just fucking offer the details in every single thing you say or explain everything, you know? Like, I'm you know, I just, with politics, especially this, because this right here, that specific message that she's transphobic for this, I have no doubt that there are so many other things that they could have pointed out that were actually transphobic.
Oh, like blatantly transphobic?
Yes, yeah, that's my point. Like, I'm just like, wait, why are you using this clip? It's a part of politics, and that's what I was saying earlier. The personality politics, I guess that's what I'll call it from now on. Which I remember I told you I thought that was like what identity politics was personality politics. So that's that thing where, because no matter what, everybody ends up doing this.
Let me read the caption again. On the
floor of the House of Representatives, Marjorie Taylor Green complains that it's unfair and cancel culture that other people can retweet porn, but she can't be transphobic. That's pretty funny. Like the tweet itself, like it's good shit, but I just thought it was weird, especially it's mostly specifically for the context of what she says in the video.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do agree that they could probably find a better clip, but if she's specifically trying to use generic language in order to mask what her full intention is, you're not going to find a good clip of it because she's going to. But maybe she has a history. I would imagine
that's what I'm
that
saying.
she has a history of doing that. Otherwise, there wouldn't be that assumption. Like you would never, like you wouldn't, like if AOC said something like that, you'd be like, what?
AOC has said similar things.
She has not.
Not to transphobic, not to gender. But I mean gaslighting shit. Oh, she said so much stuff. Oh my, it's insane. Man, that's been frustrating. Anyways, no, no, I just but you know me too. Like a lot of one of the biggest reasons that we even said it earlier. I don't belong here. This world makes no sense. All the shit that we go through and see, and all this stuff that we're surrounded by is just like, what the fuck? None of it makes sense. And that's why I see the way I do, and that's why no matter what, I need that for me personally, because I'm an honest person. I'll tell you exactly how I feel, and when I'm looking for truth, I want the truth, not this fucking fake truth right here.
Yeah.
Because I understand the dog whistling thing. But you could, I mean, you know what this reminds me of? And it's not the same thing, but what it reminds me of, and again, I'm not defending this woman, okay? This specific context is what I'm talking about. It reminds me of the video where they're talking about her video saying, go to the Capitol and tell them what you think and show them that you care about these things and take it the fuck over. And that was a year before the fucking thing that they were trying to link it to, you know?
Right.
That's why I can't stand that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, be real, be honest. It's clickbait, basically.
Yeah, misrepresentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, if he's a well-respected journalist, I'm very surprised that that's what he wrote as a tweet.
And well, like you said, it might be the best thing he can find.
Yeah, but
I doubt it. I doubt it, though,
thing.
because she's known to be a horrible person.
Like, I agree with you. That is a bad caption. That is a, like, clickbait caption, because if you click on it, that's not what she's saying. I would definitely have, like, if I was the one who would caption that, I would definitely have said something about dog whistles, because then if somebody clicks on it and says, I don't recognize what, like, because like you did, you clicked on it, I don't recognize what she said that's transphobic, and then I had to explain that it was a dog whistle. Like, if I was captioning that, I'd say that she's dog whistling, and then if you don't
have
understand
something to
what a dog
refer
whistle is,
to.
you can Google it and be like, oh, okay, so what she's saying is this, So it's just him, like, it sounds like him just trying to get attention.
Well,
so it is a bad, I mean, it is a bad
You sort of
caption.
explain it. I mean, what you said makes sense of knowing your audience.
Yeah, but
that's my point.
But the tweet reached you, and you're not his audience. So, I mean, that's the kind of the thing, the complaint about the left from the left is that we're all just talking to ourselves, and if we want people on our side, then we need to reach out.
It's interesting that you said it, because I remember the first time I ever saw like a leftist go on the Tucker Carlson show. My first experience with that,
what a fucking waste of an interview.
I was pissed, man.
Really?
Because I fucking hate Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
I can't stand that guy. That's on top of just Fox being Fox.
I just can't imagine that being a productive interview.
But no, there were so many excellent points that I could understand. I don't like it, but I get it. And the point was they're reaching out to that other audience.
I guess, but like if I'm talking to Tucker Carlson, I'm just gonna expect him to talk over me and
no, he actually, that's actually the weird thing about it. He actually lets them fully speak all the way. Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
That's good, because like when I showed you that video of Jon Stewart on the show, and then, like they were just talking over.
That wasn't Tucker Carlson though, was it?
Yeah, it's Tucker Carlson and some other white guy. Yeah.
Because I remember the main guy being like a really older gentleman.
Yeah.
And he was the one that mostly talked over him.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
And Tucker Carlson was like, I thought you were cool.
I can't stand Tucker, but after seeing many, I'm telling
he definitely knows where his paycheck is coming from.
Yeah, the point was made where even if his audience is fucking psychopaths and stuff, another point was what was interesting to me, and that was they were pointing out like that this person that was on Tucker Carlson, all these other media outlets never had them on.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't even take them. And that's why they go on Tucker.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, if you're...
And I hate that idea, but like I said, my first reaction was like, oh, you fucking sickening bastard. Why would you go on that show, you know? But that was my first... Because Tucker's horrible.
Yeah. Well, Contrapoints got into... Like, the first time she was canceled, I think, was after she came out as trans, and then she was doing debates with kind of righty people, and like the left Twitter was just up in arms, like, why are you giving these people a platform? She's like, no, I'm trying to make my points, you know. And she was new to debating, and she wasn't great at it, and so she didn't come off as looking great, and people were like, you're making us look bad. I was like, can I just be a person and like learn?
Yeah.
I can't get better at it if I'm not practicing.
She went ahead is similar. I mean, she went ahead, as far as I can tell, I think she even still refers to herself as a liberal. She's in a couple of her videos, she said, I'm more left now than I ever was before, but she's still a liberal, and she's also patriotic. She's apparently super hardcore America for whatever reason. That's one thing I'll never understand.
I blame the parents.
But it's really funny to me because even as a hardcore, yay America kind of a person, she's still very lefty. From what I've seen, you know.
Yeah, well, she's gotten more left. Like she started out as more right.
Because I've seen a lot of and again, most of this stuff I had experienced and gone through in 2020 more than ever the rest of my life, and I'd seen all the arguments on all the parties and the sides, and the liberals are hated the most, you know. And it's actually understandable too, because a lot of them really do represent exactly what Malcolm X said about them. Even now, it's a trip, dude. It's just like, holy shit. So, and that was what was different about Shoe to me, was because here the weird thing is, to me, I even saw this. I think I told you. Remember that I told you about the video of the Boogaloo boy doing a speech, and it was all leftist stuff and Black Lives Matter and stuff. And it was probably a month or two ago. But this guy, now come to find out later, I was talking about. I was like, because it reminded me of politicians, you know, where they'll just say what you want to hear. And someone pointed that out to me about this supposed Boogaloo boy or whatever. They're white nationalist supremacists and stuff, type of group.
Ooh.
And he said, yeah, it's basically the same as co-opting Black Lives Matter kind of a thing. Like, they're just going to say what you want to hear so you don't look at them as the enemy kind of a thing. And I was just like, he didn't come off that way, though. You know what I mean? That's why it's such a...
That's why it's tricky.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Have you ever seen that clip of that dude from... Like, I think he was Nixon's campaign manager or something. He was like, we used to be able to say the N-word, now we say things like welfare.
I've heard about it. I think I saw a small bit of it.
Yeah. It's like, it's about as blatant as you can get.
We used to be able to say the N-word. Politicians have said that even now.
Yeah, but like back when he was...
Trump was like, you remember how he used to treat them?
Oh,
do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, he gave a huge speech about how, and he was specifically referring to protesters, but it was nuts. And the fact that nobody could recognize it for what it was, as far as people, his supporters. His supporters didn't recognize that for what it was, and that's another thing that drives me nuts about. I'm just like, how do people not see this shit?
They don't want to.
And it's
we see what we want to see. We hear what we want to hear.
They're
to
all
overcome our own
pieces of
prejudices is a huge hurdle, you know. So we're our own worst enemy in a lot of cases.
It's crazy.
It's most of us are just so overwhelmed with day-to-day life that we're not going to want if it's like adding another problem on. It's like that like the song that you played, like the fake woke. It sounds, a lot of the stuff that he's complaining about sounds like he's like, life is hard enough. I don't want to feel responsible for a lot of the stuff that's being put on me, you know, and the truth is that, like, it's your responsibility whether you accept it or not, you know. You can shirk your responsibility, but at least acknowledge that what you're doing is actively being ignorant, you know, and trying to absolve yourself of something that if you just turned around and said, listen, I'm not responsible for all of the past hate crimes that have ever happened.
Well, yeah.
However, it is my responsibility as a member of the society that we live in now to try to prevent any future ones.
This is why I specifically came to you with that song, because, like I said, I listened to a lot of the previous stuff, and what you just said, he actually does address in one of his previous songs, too.
No.
He actually talks about that. He's like, I know the history, but I'm not the part of, you know, I'm not doing this. This is not, you know, me or whatever kind of a thing. So I can't remember how it went, but he does sing about that. So this song specifically, that's why I was like, dude, what the hell, man? You know, like, and you fucked up. I told him, I said, you fucked up. This is a bad take. You should delete this shit.
Nobody's saying that you're responsible for past atrocities. What we're saying is that we live in a society where this stuff is still happening, and if you just want to put blinders on, ignore it. Because your life is already so hard you can barely handle it. That's understandable, but it's still not okay.
Well, I think that's interesting too. The thing I think I told you a little bit about that, but you know, he started poor and whatever, and he had to grow, and he's rich now. And one of his songs is about that, like he's singing about his fans saying he changed and stuff. And
God,
yeah. I thought that was funny, but it was also understandable.
This reminds me of Bo Burnham. You've changed, bro.
That's such a good part too, man. That's the one where he does that little rap thing, right? The Bo.
Yeah. We think we know you.
Yeah.
We know
you. That was so awesome.
You know what's so funny is that when I saw that, I just felt like it was so relatable. Even though, like you don't have to be famous to have people decide what your personality is and try to influence you into behaving a certain way.
For everybody, yeah. I mean, that's peer pressure. It's social pressure,
Yeah, it's pretty typical.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I'm sure you remember that whole song. I kind of want to go to that soul here.
We think we know you.
Yes. Oh, I love Bo Burnham. I'm ready to take a break. How about you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, let's go put on Bo Burnham as a final.
As our outro music.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just pretend like I'm singing it, and my voice is much deeper than usual.
We think we know you.
Have you seen his country song? I love his country
song. Yes, that shit is hilarious, man. All right, so before we do this, because we'll end it with this. We'll just play
and we know we're never going to be monetized anyway, so this is fine.
What do you think about this recording we did?
It was a little rough, but I mean, they can't all be gems.
I was just curious. I liked it because mainly it was we had no plan. It was mostly just chill, but I thought it ended up being a cool conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't in the greatest state of mind. It's sometimes why I'm fine with waiting a few days in between recording. Because I need to.
Well, it's like I said, the main reason I just mostly wanted to hang out and chat. I did not mean to get political.
Yeah, but I woke up in a bad mood and with a headache and hungry and like cranky.
Do you want to hold on to this one and just not upload it?
I think we should upload it. Like, everything doesn't have to be like perfect.
Well, I mean, I don't think any of ours are perfect.
I think there were some good parts to it. I think it's fine.
Okay, do you want to say...
want to listen to it, then that's okay.
Right, yeah. Do you want to say goodbye? Because we'll end it. We're going to sit here and listen unless you want to come and say bye after the song.
No, we'll let Bo sing us out.
Okay.
Thank you for listening, if you did, and have a good day.
All right, thank you for listening. We're going to play Bo Burnham. We think we know you because this is awesome. And if you've never seen his shows, they are free on every platform, basically.
Yeah.
It's B-O... and then Burnham.
Like on Thanksgiving, you burn your ham.
And he's a performer.
While you celebrate national atrocities.
I think he would normally be labeled as a comedian, but he's not exactly a comedian. He's a performer, and it's incredibly special shows. He has 2 of them. They're on YouTube as well as Netflix and anything. I don't remember if they're on Hulu. I remember they were at one point, but I think Hulu doesn't have them anymore.
I would watch What before Make Happy because Make Happy is so much
one
better
comes before
in
the
quality.
other, doesn't it?
Yeah. that like what will be disappointing after Make Happy.
I would watch the first one first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I gotcha. No, I love them both.
I love them both too, but I did watch Make Happy and then rewatched What, and I was like, oh wow, I can definitely see the
improvements. Yeah. Definitely. Like if you look him up, find his older show first. They're both an hour long, so watch his
What
his oldest
is the older
one
show?
first.
Make Happy is the newer one.
They're both absolutely incredible.
And then watch his movie.
Which I still haven't
grade.
watched. Yeah.
I think it's 8th grade.
I've been meaning to watch that.
It's very good. It'll make you laugh and cry.
I might have to watch. I don't know, man. I needed to watch that damn movie. Or anyways, if you listen, thank you so much for hanging out and putting up with us for so long and all our political hatred and nonsense and craziness. And we'll talk to you another time. Take care.
That's the end of the show. I probably should have ended it on a sort of higher note there. But yeah, that's the end of What. I hope you liked it.
Wow. Oh my God. How are you? I haven't seen you since like freshman year. Oh my God. You were so like skinny and weird back then. But now you're, anyway, you should totally come to this party I'm having tonight with a bunch of my college friends. It's gonna be off the chain hook. It's gonna be so good. You can play some songs for us or something. I've been telling everybody how good of friends we were back in the day. I know we never talked or hung out ever, but I think that's what made our friendship so special, you know? Anyway, text me. Okay, bye.
Mr. Burnham, how you doing? Good? Good. I'm an agent from out in Los Angeles. Really dig your stuff, man. It's out there, you know. I totally get it. And the best part about it, man, you got all these young fans, and which is great because young people they're very passionate. They're very reliable consumers. But what you got to do in order to take your career to the next level, you got to cater more heavily to them. All right, we've done studies. Young people do not respond to this, you know, introspective material or these challenges to the form, you know. Young people want jokes they can relate to, okay? So write a silly song about Facebook, you know? Write some jokes about Twitter or sugary cereals or Razor scooters. Relate to them. You know, also you gotta reestablish your presence on the internet, buddy, all right? It's not important whether the material's good or not. What's important is that you keep the Bo Burnham brand alive and well. You get it? Cool, we'll discuss more later. I know it's a lot. My number is 310-555. Fag. What up, dude? What's up? How are you, man? You've changed, bro. You've changed. I never knew you, but my friend's old roommate's friend said he knew you in high school and you became a real asshole once all this comedy stuff started happening. What is it, man? You think you're better than us? Think you're better than us just because you're tall? Whoa, congrats, man. You're tall. Wow, it's incredible. Whoa, you want a trophy for being tall? We should just give trophies to tall things, and every tree and building will have a trophy. Does that make sense? Yo, why are you acting all quiet and weird right now? Yo, I know why you are. It's because you're an arrogant prick. That's why, an arrogant fucking prick. I once heard that you actually act quiet because you're shy and introverted in real life, and that people shouldn't expect you to act the same way off stage as you do on stage. Yeah, that makes no sense. Anyway, you want to buy some weed?
Bo, oh my God. Bo, oh my God. Bo. 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 Oh my God.
Mr. Burnham.
Bo. Bo.
Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Burnham.
Bo. Bo.
Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Burnham.
Bo. Bo.
Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Burnham.
Bo. Bo.
Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Fag. Mr. Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Fag. Mr. Fag.
Bo.
Fag.
Oh my God.
Fag. Fag. Mr. Burnham. Fag.
Oh my God.
Fag. 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 Fag.
I am Satan, Lord of Darkness.
Bo.
Fag. Mr. Burnham. Fag. 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 Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Burnham.
Bo. Bo.
Fag.
Bo. Oh my God.
Mr. Burnham.
Bo. Bo.
Hey! Hey!
What the hell?
Hey! Hey!
You're not gonna hit the girl? That's sexist.
Mr.
Bow.
We think you've changed, bro. We know best.
You suck.
We think you've changed, bro. We know best.
You suck.
We think we know
you.
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 Mr.
Bow. Oh my god. Bow. Oh my god. Bow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Mr. Burnham.